Chapter 1. A red taxi stopped at the entrance of the Kempinski Hotel. A woman in her 20s stepped out of the taxi. She was wearing a simple white cotton dress, and her slightly curly long hair was not ostentatious or luxurious. It was simple yet pleasing to the eye. She had light makeup on her face and held a white handbag in her hand. Paired with a pair of black rustic high heels, she instantly looked like a fairy. Although she wasn't the kind of beauty that could cause the downfall of a country, her facial features were exquisite and very recognizable. She gave people a feeling of a spring breeze. There were women like her in this world. They weren't stunning, but they were alluring. Huomian happened to be one of those rare women who had a unique temperament that captured people's souls. Io, Huomin, you're here. Hurry up and go to the peony hall on the second floor. Everyone is waiting there. If they know that you're here, they'll be very happy. The student in charge of the reception at the entrance of the hall enthusiastically showed her the way. Huomin smiled and nodded. Then, she slowly walked up to the second floor. She did not know why, but she started to feel inexplicably uneasy. This feeling she had not felt in a long time. In fact, she rarely attended high school reunions. It was not because Huomin did not fit in with the group, nor was it because she was a big shot. It was because in her 3 years of high school, there was one person who left an unforgettable impression on her. Therefore, she always subconsciously avoided him. This time, she was invited because her homeroom teacher, Mr. Yao, personally called her. Mr. Yao was over 60 years old and had retired long ago. Moreover, it was said that he had emigrated to New Zealand with his daughter. Now that he suddenly returned and even organized a reunion, Huomin had no reason to refuse. Although she was never an outstanding student in the teacher's eyes, her feelings for Mr. Yao were no less than the other students. Moreover, that person had disappeared for 7 years. He probably wouldn't appear at the reunion, right? Huomin comforted herself in her heart, trying to ease the damned uneasiness in her heart. When she pushed open the door and entered, there were already more than 20 people in the room. When they heard the door open, everyone looked towards the door. Huomin smiled shyly. "Hi, everyone. Long time no see." She took the initiative to greet them. "Oh, isn't this the great beauty Huomin? How rare. You actually came to attend the gathering. Did the sun rise from the west?" A female classmate said sarcastically. Huomin smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything. At this time, the class monitor, Han Su, stood up and walked over. He greeted him warmly. "Huomin, long time no see. Everyone misses you. How are you? How are you doing?" "Yes, I'm fine." "Class monitor, where's Teacher Yao?" Huomin looked around and couldn't help but ask when he didn't see the head teacher. "Ah, Teacher Yao just called and said that there's a traffic jam. He'll be here soon. Come, find a place to sit down first." Huomin nodded. Then he found a quiet corner and sat down, listening to the conversations of the students around him. After graduating from high school for many years, everyone had changed a lot. Some had become famous entrepreneurs, some had taken a civil service exam, and some had directly gone abroad to further their studies. In short, compared to those people, Huomin, the genius girl with an IQ of 130, seemed very ordinary. After graduating from high school, she gave up a university in the capital and went to medical school to major in nursing. After graduating, she entered the provincial hospital as an intern nurse and signed a 3-year contract. Now, she had a stable boyfriend. He was an intern in the neurosurgery department of the hospital. Although his family background was average, he had a good future. Huomin felt that she had enough in this life. She didn't want to be rich or famous, but only wanted to be safe and stable. Suddenly, someone patted her from behind. Huomin was startled and turned around in panic. Chapter 2. When she saw who it was, she let out a sigh of relief. "Lingling, are you trying to scare me to death?" "Huh. I told you to wait for me at the door. We came in together, but you ran in first," Zhu Lingling said as she pulled a chair over and sat down beside Huomin. "I was going to wait for you, but I happened to see the receptionist at the door. He said everyone was upstairs, so I came up." Huomin smiled gently. Zhu Lingling was her best friend in high school. Now, she was a flight attendant for civil aviation. She was a very pretty girl, and she was one of Huomin's few best friends because, like Huomin, she was a kind girl. Ling Ling, aren't you busy these days? How can I not be busy? I'm so busy. I was supposed to fly to Star City today, but I happened to have a party. So I switched shifts with my colleague. All right, where's your doctor? Why didn't he bring him? He has surgery today, so he can't leave. Ah, not bad, not bad. You have a bright future. All right, how's looking at houses going? Pretty much. We looked at 3, and one of them is pretty good. We'll discuss it with his parents and choose one from the middle. That's fast. Where's the house? Buying a house is a big deal. You have to think carefully, Zhu Lingling advised. It's in the 3rd ring road. It only takes about 20 minutes to get to work by bus. It's pretty convenient. Huomin smiled faintly. The 3rd ring road is pretty good. The average price is around 8,000 yuan, right? Your boyfriend is pretty rich, Zhu Lingling said enviously. We're not paying the full amount, just a down payment. We'll pay the rest later. After all, we're still young. After we buy the house, we'll start planning for the wedding, right? Zhu Lingling held Huomin's hand and asked, if there are no accidents, that should be the case. Huomin nodded. Mian, are you really willing to marry him, just like that? Zhu Lingling suddenly asked with a serious look. Now that things have come to this, what's there to be reconciled to? Mian, do you know what I'm asking? Have you really forgotten about him? Zhu Lingling's voice was very low, but Huomin could still hear it clearly. When she heard him, there was a trace of sadness in her eyes, as well as a trace of heartache that was hard to capture. So what? So what if he was unwilling? This is fate. I accept it, Lingling. I accepted it 7 years ago, Huomin said with a bitter smile. Zhu Lingling wanted to say something, but at that moment, the door to the private room opened. All the students immediately stood up, including Huomin and Zhu Lingling. They all stood up and looked toward the door. As she wished, she saw her white-haired homeroom teacher, Mr. Yao, at the door. And the person beside Mr. Yao was actually the man who disappeared for 7 years, the man who was once the most important person in Huomin's life, appeared here in such a way. It was like a dream, catching everyone off guard. Huomin felt like she was about to fall into a daze. Chapter 3. Oh my God, am I seeing things? That person, is he Qinshu? Among the crowd, one of the girls let out an exclamation, pulling everyone's thoughts back from the shock. Qinshu. It really is Qinshu, another girl repeated excitedly. Huomin stared blankly at the figure at the door. That person was even more dazzling now than he had been in the past. His entire body exuded a glow that no one could ignore. He was 185 meters tall, with a head of exquisite short hair, a black shirt, and black trousers. It was such a simple outfit, but it was so dazzling on him. Huomin had seen his deep-set eyes, high-nosed bridge, thin lips, and angular face countless times in her dreams. Now that she had seen him in real life, she didn't know what to say. At that moment, Huomin felt like her heart was about to jump out of her chest. Mian, what did I say just now? Speak of the devil, and he will appear. TSK, TSK. This scene is so melodramatic. It's like an 8 p.m. TV drama. Zhu Lingling recovered from her shock and gently touched Huomin's arm. Huomin, on the other hand, didn't react at all. Her gaze and thoughts were still stuck on Qinshu. That man's appearance hadn't changed at all. However, after 7 years, he had gained a sense of calmness and maturity. There was a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. Qinshu used to be cold and never had such an expression. Did he change? Or did time change? Qinshu looked around. When his gaze swept past Huomin, he didn't linger on her for long. He thought she was just like the other students. This made Huomin feel an inexplicable sense of loss. Long time no see. Qinshu looked around and spoke in a seemingly casual manner. Oh my God, Mr. Qin, you're really back? I'm not dreaming, right? Where have you been all these years? Lu Xing rushed to the front and asked excitedly. Everyone knew that Lu Xing was crazily infatuated with Qinshu in high school. Back then, because of Qinshu, she didn't speak a single word to Huomin throughout high school. When they met, they treated each other like enemies. Now that 7 years had passed, It seemed like Lu Xing hadn't changed at all. As soon as she saw Qin Shu in person, she pounced on him like a starving wolf that saw bone. She didn't show any restraint at all. The other girls also surrounded him. After all, everyone liked a handsome man like Qin Shu. I've always been studying in the States. Qin Shu, facing everyone's questions. 7 years, 7 whole years. Qin Shu completely disappeared. No one knew where he went, including his former love, Huamian. Just then, the class president, Han Su, walked up with a smile and said, "It's good that you're back. This is the first time that everyone in our class is back. Come, Ms. Qin, please take a seat. Let's sit down and chat while we eat." Ms. Yao walked to the main seat with Qin Shu's help. Qin Shu sat down on Ms. Yao's left. Han Su was just about to sit down on Ms. Yao's right when Ms. Yao said, "Huamin." "Ms. Yao." Huamin immediately stood up. "Come, sit here." Ms. Yao waved her hand. Han Su was extremely embarrassed, but fortunately, he reacted quickly and immediately said, "Come here, Mian. I haven't seen you in a long time. Come, let's catch up." Huamin nodded. Although he didn't want to, he still forced himself to walk over. With every step she took, her heart trembled because she was getting closer and closer to Qin Shu. Maybe it was because she was too nervous, but as soon as she sat down, she knocked over a glass and shattered it to pieces. Chapter 4. I'm sorry. Huamin immediately apologized. In the midst of the chaos, someone handed her a tissue. She took it and wiped her skirt. When she looked up, she realized that it was Qin Shu. "Thank you." Her tone was distant, as if she was trying to distance herself from him. Qin Shu didn't say anything. He casually chatted with his classmates and didn't seem to care about Huamin, until Lu Xing purposely asked loudly in front of everyone, "Oh right, Huamin, I heard that you're getting married soon, right? Your fiancé is a doctor. Not bad. Don't forget to invite everyone to your wedding. After all, we were classmates." After Lu Xing asked this, everyone fell silent. They all tacitly looked at Qin Shu and waited for his reaction. Not yet. The two families are still discussing it. Once the date is set, I'll definitely let everyone know. Huamin was a little embarrassed and smiled shyly. Just then, Huamin clearly felt a sharp gaze looking in her direction. "You're getting married?" After a moment of silence, Qin Shu finally spoke for the first time. Huamin nodded, but she didn't even say a word. Perhaps she was too scared or too nervous. "Ha, congratulations." He had a smile on his face, but his eyes were so cold that it sent chills down her spine. "Thank you." Huamin was a little embarrassed. She didn't look directly at Qin Shu because the smile on Qin Shu's face made her feel a strong sense of oppression. She had thought about reuniting with Qin Shu countless times, but she never thought that it would be under such circumstances. Thinking about it made her heart flutter again. What a pity. Our beauty Hua. The school bell is second high. I always thought that you would definitely find a rich second-generation heir and marry into a rich family. I didn't expect you to be wooed so quickly. Ha, what a pity. If I had known, I would have wooed you. Ha, why don't you not marry and consider me instead? Wei Dong, who was always full of mischief, cracked a joke again after a few drinks. Wei Dong's family was well off. His father was in the construction business. In recent years, the real estate industry had been booming, and he had been doing well with his father. That was why he was so confident in his jokes during gatherings. Zhu Lingling immediately rolled her eyes at Wei Dong and scolded him. "Forget it. It's not your turn to pursue Huamin. Just stop it. You already lost to Qin Shu when we were in school." Before she finished speaking, Zhu Lingling suddenly realized that she had crossed the line, so she immediately shut up. Qin Shu and Huamin seemed to have become an unspeakable secret in Jay Chou's movie. Qin Shu didn't react to what she said. He just kept staring at Huamin, as if his eyes were going to pierce through her. Huamin smiled awkwardly, then stood up and said, I'm really sorry. I'll go to the bathroom first." There was actually a bathroom in the private room, but Huamin just wanted to find an excuse to escape. Or rather, to escape from Qin Shu. After walking out of the private room, Huamin gasped for breath. She could even clearly hear the sound of her heart racing. Huamin never thought that he would be able to reunite with Qin Shu in this way. It had been 7 years, and Huamin was caught off guard by his sudden appearance. After calming down in the bathroom for a while, Huamin touched up her makeup and walked out with her head lowered. Before she could see what was going on, she was caught off guard by a big hand that pressed her against the corner of the room. Then, Huamin's cold lips attacked her without warning. The unfamiliar breath mixed with the familiar taste made Huamin's brain short-circuit instantly. Chapter 5. Before Huamin could push him away, he suddenly let go of his hands. Then, he cupped Huamin's face and smiled devilishly. His magnetic voice drifted into Huamin's ears. "Huamin, I'm back." Hearing such a familiar voice, Huamin trembled slightly. Looking into his eyes, which were filled with so many things, something that had been suppressed for a long time seemed to spread out from the bottom of his heart. Huamin didn't remember how frantically he left the washroom. He stumbled as he pushed open the door to the private room, feeling like he was in a trance. "Mian, what's wrong? Why do you look so pale?" Zhu Lingling immediately stood up and walked over to help Huamin up. "I'm fine." When Huamin said that, his face was extremely pale. After a moment of thought, she decided to leave. So, Huamin carefully walked over and whispered into Ms. Yao's ear, "I'm sorry, Ms. Yao. I'm not feeling well. I'll be leaving first. I'll visit you alone another day." Ms. Yao looked at Huamin meaningfully and nodded. "Go ahead, be careful on your way." Then, Huamin ignored everyone else's stares and left with his bag. Zhu Lingling was confused. Huamin is too arrogant. She sure knows how to act. She must have known that Qin Chu was coming, so she came. Now, she's leaving early to keep him in suspense. What a scheming bitch. She used this method to seduce Qin Chu back then, and now she's doing this again. What a disgusting woman. Lu Xing cursed endlessly. The other classmates didn't say anything. After all, it had been 7 years since the incident between Qin Chu and Huamin. Huamin knew that Qin Chu was too dangerous. She felt the same way she did back then, completely messing up her mind. She thought she had forgotten about it long ago, but who knew that she would still feel the same way when she saw him today? His memories were like a flood that had opened the floodgates, gushing out of his mind 7 years ago. On the night of graduation, too many things happened. She thought that she would never see Qin Chu again. Then, this guy mysteriously disappeared, and no one knew where he went. And now he suddenly came back. It was like magic. This was too unbelievable. Huamin was a person who lived in a normal world. How could she withstand this kind of torment? No matter what, Huamin couldn't afford to offend Qin Chu. Just like 7 years ago, they were in love, but they couldn't have a happy ending. They were people from different worlds. Moreover, after that incident, she never thought that she would have anything to do with Qin Chu again. For Huamin, she just wanted to find a stable man to marry. This was Huamin's dream for the rest of her life. After leaving the hotel and getting into a taxi, her phone was still ringing nonstop. They were all calls from Zhu Lingling. Huamin didn't answer because she didn't know what to say at this moment. Her mind was in a mess, and she even lost the ability to think. When she returned to the rented apartment, it was almost 11 o'clock. Huamin pushed open the door. The room was pitch black. When she turned on the light, she found that there was no one in the bedroom. It seemed that Ning Jia hadn't gotten off work yet. This 2-bedroom apartment was rented by her boyfriend, Ning Ziyuan, after they graduated. She also lived here because it was convenient to take care of Ning Jia, and also because it was close to the hospital where she worked. She didn't need to take the bus, so she could sleep more in the morning. Moreover, the environment was good and the rent was acceptable. Huamin had always thought that it was good to live here before they bought the apartment. At least it was a shelter from the wind. Living here with Ning Ziyuan, Huamin already felt like home. The two of them had been together for a long time. In fact, the most feelings they felt was dependence rather than love. This was something that Huamin deeply understood. Huamin took a simple hot shower, changed into her pajamas, and returned to her room to rest. At this moment, Huamin's phone suddenly rang. She glanced at it and saw that it was an unknown number. Chapter 6. Hello. No one spoke on the other end. Hello? Speak. If you don't speak, I'm going to hang up. Huamin was a bit annoyed, thinking Did I call the wrong number? Just as she was about to hang up, she heard a familiar voice. Why are you avoiding me? The familiar voice came from the phone. Qin Shu, Huamin asked with a trembling voice. Why are you avoiding me? On the other end of the phone, Qin Shu repeated this confusing question. Qin Shu, can you not be crazy? Our relationship ended long ago. It ended 7 years ago. Before Huamin could finish, he interrupted her. I'm downstairs. Then, before Huamin could say anything, he hung up. At that moment, Huamin's first reaction was, how did he know where she lived? Could it be that talkative Zhu Lingling again? Thinking about what happened in the bathroom, Huamin didn't want to see him at all. She didn't want to go downstairs. But if she didn't go downstairs, would he continue to wait here? Would they meet when Ning Ziyuan came back? Huamin's mind ran wild. She put on her jacket and hesitated for a while before reluctantly going downstairs. Sure enough, he was downstairs, leaning against a silver-gray Audi R8 with a lit cigarette between his fingers. Qin Shu, what do you want? Huamin walked over and glared at him unkindly. He raised his head and looked deeply at Huamin. It was that damn look again. That look gave Huamin the illusion that he only had eyes for her, just like how he doted on her all those years ago. Mian, you're still the same as before. You haven't changed at all. Qin Shu looked at Huamin without blinking, his eyes full of complicated emotions. Huamin bitterly smiled and replied, You're wrong. People change. Qin Shu, I don't care what you want to do. I just want to say, let bygones be bygones. I'm tired and don't want to be entangled with you anymore. We both have our own lives now, so please don't continue to be crazy, okay? I'm not crazy. I've never been so rational, Qin Shu said seriously. Then what's your purpose? To catch up? Huamin sneered at the person in front of him. He looked at Huamin, his eyes flashing, and said, Huamin, marry me. Upon hearing this, Huamian almost went crazy. This man had disappeared for 7 years, and the first thing he did when he came back was propose to her. Chapter 7. Qin Shu, the most important man in Huamin's 3 years in high school, the man who had made her love and hate him to the core, the man who had disappeared for 7 years, suddenly came back, at the most inappropriate time, at the most inappropriate place, to propose to the most inappropriate person. Huamin felt that this was the most ridiculous thing in the world. Qin Shu, stop fooling around. We're not kids anymore. Huamin turned her head away, her voice a little hoarse. I'm not joking. Qin Shu stared at Huamin's familiar face and emphasized seriously. So you're just teasing me, making fun of me? Huamin laughed sarcastically. Even she herself felt that her laughter was so bleak. No, then you mean you're serious? Huamin was not angry, but laughed. Looking at him, she suddenly felt that he was very funny. He did not answer, but his expression had obviously answered Huamin. Huamin took a deep breath, then pointed at him. Come, Qin Shu, repeat what you said just now. Huamin, let's get married. He knew her very well, and immediately repeated it. Qin Shu, listen to me. I'm getting married, but it's definitely not with you. So stop dreaming. It's impossible between us. I once said that even if all the men in the world died, I would never be with you. Have you forgotten? You may not know this, but I've never hated anyone in my life, but I especially hate you. You brought me unforgettable pain and hurt. You're not me, so you can't empathize with me. You'll never understand the nightmares I've experienced. In short, we both have our own lives now, and I have a boyfriend who loves me very much. Please leave. I don't want to see you ever again. Your name is a curse that can never be broken. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. I don't want to be entangled with you anymore. Huamin thought that Huamin had made it clear enough. So after she finished speaking, she turned around and prepared to go upstairs. Suddenly, Qin Shu grabbed her arm. Let go. Qin Shu, what else do you want? Before Huamin could finish her sentence, she saw Qin Shu pull Huamin into his arms. Perhaps he used too much force, but Huamin's head hit his broad chest heavily. The white shirt still had the faint scent of Versace on it. At that moment, Huamin actually felt that this embrace was so comfortable and so familiar. The memories that came to her in an instant made her nose sour, and tears almost fell from her eyes. After this thought came to her mind, Huamin was shocked. She cursed in her heart. Huamin, are you crazy? Have you forgotten how this man treated you in the past? Who is this man? He's the devil. Why are you wasting time with him? You're going to get married. You have Ning Ziyuan. With this thought, Huamin came to her senses once again. Qin Shu, hurry up and let go of me, you bastard. Otherwise, I'm going to scream for help, Huamin threatened with a frown. However, he didn't seem to hear her. He hugged Huamin tightly and refused to let go. He hugged Huamin tightly like a lost treasure that had just been recovered. Qin Shu wasn't a person who was good with words. Now that he was able to hug Huamin like this, he was already satisfied. This time, he came back with a clear goal. No one was going to separate them. No one was going to do it. At this moment, Huamin heard a familiar voice behind her. What are you guys doing? Chapter 8. Huamin's body trembled. She turned around and saw her boyfriend, Ning Ziyuan, standing not far behind Huamin. He must have just gotten off work, and in his hands were Huamin's favorite grilled corn and iced Coke. Huamin finally snapped out of her daze. She pushed Qin Shu away and immediately explained, Ziyuan, it's not what you think. Please don't misunderstand. Listen to me, okay? Okay, I'll listen. Go on. Ning Ziyuan was surprisingly calm today. He stared at Huamin, and then looked at Qin Shu, who was standing behind Huamin, with hostility. Ning Ziyuan knew Huamin very well. He didn't think that she was the kind of woman who would cheat on him. Huamin rarely used WeChat, and she was an honest woman who worked both at home and work. He believed that there must be a reason for what happened today. Just as Huamin didn't know how to explain to Ning Ziyuan, Qin Shu suddenly said, Huamin, she's mine. Upon hearing this, Huamin felt like her head was going to explode. She couldn't believe that such a dramatic scene actually happened to her. Huamin suddenly felt like God was playing a malicious joke on her. At this moment, after Ning Ziyuan heard this, his eyes were no longer as gentle as they used to be. Instead, they were filled with a sinister coldness. Qin Shu, what are you talking about? Huamin was finally angry. Mian, tell me first, who is he? Ning Ziyuan pointed at Qin Shu and asked with a gloomy expression. Ziyuan, listen to me, he's actually just my high school classmate. Huamin was obviously not confident when she said this, but she wasn't lying. Qin Shu was indeed her high school classmate for 3 years. Huamin, we're more than just classmates, right? Why don't you tell her that we just kissed in the hotel bathroom? Qin Shu said maliciously, with an extremely arrogant smile on his face. Upon hearing this, Ning Ziyuan's face darkened. I didn't. Huamin tried to explain the truth that Qin Shu twisted. Huamin, don't lie. You can't lie. Look, your lips still have my taste. Qin Shu reached out and swept his index finger across Huamin's lips. His action was extremely intimate and teasing. Then, Qin Shu looked at Ning Ziyuan and asked, since you and Huamin are boyfriend and girlfriend, didn't she tell you about her past? Past. Ning Ziyuan was slightly surprised. Indeed, he had never heard Huamin talk about her past. Other than being close to Zhu Lingling, Huamin didn't seem to attend any of her high school reunions. He had never asked her about it. What? You don't know? Didn't she say that 7 years ago, she was deeply in love with a man? That man was me. Qin Shu said word by word. Huamin's originally healed wound slowly tore open in his heart. He was in so much pain that he wanted to die. Huamin, let me ask you, is what he said true? At this moment, Ning Ziyuan's tone was so cold that there wasn't a trace of warmth in it. Chapter 9. No, Ziyuan, listen to me. It's not what you think. Huamin was usually a very calm girl, but when it came to the matter from 7 years ago, her heart would be in a mess. She would even speak incoherently. Huamin, you've never lied. Why did you lie to him? You should have told him everything that happened between us. Qin Shu's tone was aggressive. Huamin, let me ask you. He's your ex-boyfriend, right? Did he touch you just now? Did he kiss you? Ning Ziyuan walked over step by step, getting closer and closer to Huamin. After knowing him for so long, this was the first time he saw such a serious side of him. The look in his eyes was as if he wanted to eat someone. Ning Ziyuan and Huamin had been together for a long time. At most, they had held hands and kissed. They hadn't crossed the last line of defense. Perhaps it was because Huamin was a traditionalist, and Ning Zuan wanted to marry her, so he endured it time and time again. Now that he heard that the goddess in his heart had been defiled by someone else, how could he stand it? A nameless fire rose in his heart, and Ning Zuan was so angry that his face turned pale. Huamin didn't want to lie to Ning Zuan. She had been forcefully kissed, but if she told the truth now, wouldn't the misunderstanding deepen? Just as she was thinking about how to explain it in a way that would make it easier for Ning Zuan to accept, Qin Chu's demonic voice rang out. Looking at you. You probably didn't know that we had sex 7 years ago, right? With a bang, Qin Chu's words completely shattered Huamin's last bit of rationality. She never thought that Qin Chu would be so nonchalant about what happened 7 years ago. And with such a frivolous expression, it shouldn't be like this. This doesn't seem like Qin Chu's character. Has he changed over the past 7 years? Qin Chu, how did you become so despicable? Huamin was so shocked that he couldn't say a complete sentence. You bastard, what did you say? Ning Zuan threw away the cola and corn in his hand and grabbed Qin Chu's collar with one hand. He stared at Qin Chu with a pair of scarlet eyes and asked. The corners of Qin Chu's lips curled up slightly. He glanced at Huamin beside him and said, It seems that you two haven't reached that stage yet. It seems that Huamin doesn't love you that much, huh? Bastard, what did you say? I'll fucking kill you. After Ning Zuan finished speaking, he threw a punch at Qin Chu's face. However, Qin Chu nimbly dodged it. Then, Ning Zuan threw another punch at him. This punch was so fast that Qin Chu didn't even have time to see it clearly before he took the full brunt of the punch. Qin Chu staggered back a few steps. He wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth with his finger and said coldly, Since you've taken care of Huamin for me these past few years, I'll take this punch. But you won't get another chance. Fine, fight back. Come on, bastard. Why do you have to treat me on like that? So what if you're her ex-boyfriend? What's done is done. Why did you come back to her? At this moment, Ning Zuan was furious. He had to admit that when he heard Qin Chu say that Huamin slept with him 7 years ago, he broke down completely. How old was Huamin 7 years ago? He was only 18 years old. At that time, he was still a young high school student. No man was willing to accept the provocation of such a strong love rival, and Ning Zuan was no exception. Even though Qin Chu warned him again and again, he still didn't listen. He threw himself at Qin Chu like a wild beast. This time, Qin Chu didn't dodge. Instead, he threw a punch at Ning Zuan's head. This punch made Ning Zuan fall to the ground. Chapter 10. Zuan, are you okay? Huamin was scared out of her wits. She immediately ran over and carefully helped Ning Zuan up. She didn't expect Ning Zuan to shove her so hard that she almost fell to the ground. Fuck off. It's none of your business. You indecent. Woman, don't touch me, you disgust me. Huamin's face was covered in tears. She shook her head sadly. I didn't betray you. Please believe me, that's all in the past. It's all in the past between us. Believe what? Believe that you're still a virgin? Ning Zuan sneered viciously as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Huamin lowered her eyelashes and remained silent. Why aren't you saying anything? Did he wrongly accuse you? Don't tell me that you're still a virgin, Ning Zuan asked as he looked at Huamin with disdain. No, he's right. 7 years ago, I was with him, but that's all in the past. Zuan, listen to me, okay? I will slowly explain to you what happened between us. Ning Zuan raised his hand and viciously slapped Huamin's left cheek. She immediately felt a burning pain. Qin Chu, who was standing to the side, narrowed his eyes. He felt a slight heartache. He reached out to help Huamin up, but she pushed him away. Huamin, I thought. You were a good girl, someone who could grow old with me. I really wanted to marry you and spend the rest of my life with you. I didn't think that you were such a fickle woman. Ning Zuan was blind. I chased after you in university for so long, but I couldn't bear to touch you and treated you like a goddess. I was so fucking blind, ha ha ha. I was played by you, you're such a bitch. Zuan, it doesn't matter if you hit me or scold me. You're injured. Let's go to the hospital first, okay? After Huamin finished speaking, he staggered up and wanted to help Ning Jia again, but he was pushed back a few steps. Don't touch me, Huamin. Take your dirty hands away. I don't need you to send me off. Get lost. I don't want to see you ever again. Get lost. After Ning Ziyuan roared these words, he crawled up like a wounded beast and rushed away. Huamin stood there, crying silently. She didn't know why things had turned out this way. God had already tortured her enough, hadn't he? She had already paid the price for what happened 7 years ago, hadn't she? Why do you still have to force me? Why couldn't she live a normal life? She just wanted to live an ordinary life, that was all. Huamin, come back to me. Marry me. Behind her, Qin Shu's paranoid voice sounded. It wasn't a negotiation, nor was it a plea. It was an order, as if he wouldn't allow anyone to refuse. Huamin knew that the Qin family had the power to do so. The Qin family had always been noble, and in this city, they could do anything they wanted. 7 years ago, she had already painfully experienced the bloody price they had to pay. It seemed like she was just like Qin Shu. It wasn't over yet. Chapter 11. Huamin didn't remember how she got home. She sat alone in the dark for a long time. Everything that happened just now was like a dream, so unreal. The faint pain on her cheek was caused by Ning Ziyuan's palm print. They knew each other in university, and Ning Ziyuan pursued her for a long time. She thought about it carefully before deciding to be with him. Ning Ziyuan wasn't a very outstanding guy, but he was really good to Huamin. She thought she would live an ordinary life like this. She didn't expect something like this to happen at this juncture. Qin Shu's return seemed to have disrupted everything. After a while, she came back to her senses and took out her phone. There were more than 10 missed calls, all from Zhu Lingling. There were also 3 unread WeChat messages. Huamin slowly opened her WeChat and saw the 3 messages from Zhu Lingling clearly. Mian, why aren't you picking up? Did something happen? Mian, not long after you left, Qin Shu left as well. What's going on between you two? Is he trying to make up with you? Mian, say something. Are you okay? Huamin had a lot to say, but at this moment, her mood had hit rock bottom. She didn't want to speak anymore. After thinking for a while, she replied to Zhu Lingling. I'm a little tired today. I'll tell you in detail when we meet. I'm fine, don't worry. A few seconds later, Zhu Lingling replied again. Okay, it's good to know that you're fine. Mian, since you're here, you have to face it. I hope you understand. No one knew Huamin and Qin Shu's past better than Zhu Lingling. As Huamin's best friend for 3 years in high school, Zhu Lingling had witnessed the passionate love between her and Qin Shu. Unfortunately, after that incident, the two of them went their separate ways. She picked up her phone and called Ning Ziyuan's number, but his phone was turned off. She knew that this was too sudden for Ning Ziyuan, and it was also too cruel. Her past caused him to pay for it. Who was to blame? In the dark, Huamin sighed slightly. She knew that what was to come would come, and she couldn't avoid it even if she wanted to. In a wealthy suburb, the silver-gray Audi R8 slowly drove into an old manor. A dozen security guards bowed to greet them. With a squeak, the car stopped in front of the door. Qin Shu walked out of the car expressionlessly, opened the door, and walked in. Mrs. Qin immediately stood up and smiled. Shu, you're back. Your dad and I are waiting for you to come back for dinner. Go wash your hands. Qin Shu didn't respond. Instead, he walked into the dining room and sat down next to his father, Qin Yuman. Dad, I want to ask you something. What is it? Qin Yuman saw the unfriendliness in his son's eyes. For some reason, he felt a little flustered. Back then, in order to separate me and Huamin, what did you do to her family? After Qin Shu asked this question, Qin Yuman and Lady Qin's expressions changed drastically. Chu Yu, what are you talking about? Lady Qin smiled awkwardly. Qin Shu didn't say anything. He just stared at his father, trying to find something on his face. After Qin Shu left the country, he didn't come back for 7 years. He didn't know what happened during these years. However, he could hear the deep hatred in Huamin's voice with his intelligence. There was no way he couldn't figure out that his parents did something despicable to Huamin's family. It was very uncomfortable to be stared at by his son like this. Qin Yuman paused for a moment. Then he looked down as if he wanted to avoid the topic. He replied, It happened so long ago. Why bring it up? Chapter 12. Just tell me if you did or didn't. I want an answer. Chin-Chu's expression was terrifyingly cold as he said this. Chu, we did it for your own good back then. It's all in the past, you. Before Lady Chin could finish, Chin-Chu stood up. I knew it. From his mother's tone, he heard the answer he wanted. It was as if he had expected it. After speaking, Chin-Chu stood up and walked towards his bedroom on the second floor. Chu, eat before you rest. Lady Chin felt bad for her son. She didn't forget to remind him as she watched him leave. However, she didn't get any response. All she saw was an extremely cold back. Human. Chu, he still can't forget about that damn girl. It's been so many years, and our son finally came back. I hope nothing happens to him again, don't you think? Seeing her son's attitude, Lady Chin felt a little scared. It had been 7 years, and her son finally came back. She really didn't want things to be as bad as they were in the past, because of a woman. Don't worry about him, he's an adult. He can make his own decisions. After speaking, Chin Yumin picked up his chopsticks and continued to eat angrily. Chin-Chu went back to his room, picked up his phone, and dialed a number. Help me investigate something, the sooner the better. After speaking, he decisively hung up. Then, he slowly opened his locked drawer and took out a yellowed photo. In the photo, a girl with a ponytail had delicate features. When she smiled, a pair of small dimples appeared. She was sweet and cute. Although she was wearing a loose-fitting school uniform, it didn't affect her beauty at all. Mian, I miss you so much. He spoke in a low and hoarse voice, as if he was possessed. Along with the photo, he seemed to have returned to 7 years ago. The blue sky, the white clouds, the field, and the girl he loved. The next morning, Huamin woke up early and took the bus to the hospital for work. After he was done, he brought the bone broth he made in the morning to Ning Ziyuan to explain what happened yesterday. Ophthalmic clinic. When Huamin entered, he saw a nurse, He-Man, carefully bandaging the wound on Ning Ziyuan's forehead. Oh my God, how did you do it? Dr. Ning, how could you be so careless? The female nurse's voice was coquettish, which made people feel very uncomfortable. Ziyuan, Huamin called out softly from the doorway. Both of them turned their heads. The moment they saw Huamin, Ning Ziyuan was expressionless. No one knew what he was thinking. Huamin, you're here. You guys chat, I'll go out first. Don't go. Help me bandage my wounds. Ning Ziyuan suddenly reached out and grabbed He-Man. Dr. Ning, let your girlfriend bandage it for you. He-Man smiled awkwardly. Huamin was just about to say something when Ning Ziyuan said word by word, She's not my girlfriend anymore. What did you say? Huamin furrowed his brows slightly. I said, we broke up yesterday. You're not my girlfriend anymore. I'm not good enough for a classy girlfriend like you. So, you should go find your rich ex-boyfriend. He has a luxury car and a mansion. I'm just a poor doctor. It's too much for you to be with me. Ning Ziyuan's words were very sour. Ziyuan, I'm here today to explain what happened yesterday. Huamin took a deep breath and said calmly. Chapter 13. Explain? What's there to explain? Ning Ziyuan's face was full of mockery. His cold attitude made Huamin extremely uncomfortable. It was as if this wasn't the Ning Ziyuan that she dated for 3 years, the gentle and considerate big boy. So much had changed in a single night. Ziyuan, we've been together for 3 years. Don't you know me? Ning Ziyuan raised his head and looked at Huamin's face. He smiled and said, I really don't know you, Goddess Hua. If it weren't for what happened last night, I would have thought that you were a pure and innocent fairy that I doted on and coaxed. Who knew that the goddess in my heart slept with someone 7 years ago? How old were you back then? Were you even 18 years old? Huamin, I just realized how shameless you are. No wonder I was wondering why you were with me. It turns out that I picked up someone else's leftover. Yushu. Ning Ziyuan purposely emphasized the word Yushu. Even the nurse, He-Man, looked at Huamin in shock. She looked at him in disbelief. Huamin wasn't too upset by Ning Ziyuan's harsh words. She only felt a little heartbroken. How could such vulgar words come out of the mouth of such a gentle man? Huamin looked at Ning Ziyuan with disappointment. She slowly said, Ziyuan, everyone has a past. That's in the past. Qin Shu and I. Shut up. Stop showing off your ex-boyfriend to me. I'm disgusted by him. What's so great about him? So what if he drives a crappy Audi R8? If you like him, then go find him and make up with him. Don't come looking for me again. Ziyuan, you might not be calm enough right now. I know you're angry. When people are angry, they often make decisions that they don't mean. How about this? Calm down. I'll talk to you later. After speaking, Huamin turned around and left. Ning Ziyuan was a little upset. He had been pursuing Huamin for 3 whole years. Back then, it had caused a sensation in the entire medical school. He really did love her. However, he could not accept that his fiancée had such a disgraceful past. Moreover, her ex-boyfriend had come to provoke her by saying that he had even kissed her yesterday. They had been in a relationship for so long, but they had never slept together. Now that they knew so much, they definitely felt uncomfortable. Dr. Ning, I didn't expect Huamin to be such a frivolous woman. What a pity. He-Man muttered in a low voice. What's a pity? Ning Ziyuan frowned slightly. It's a pity that you're such a good man. Many nurses in our hospital say that Dr. Ning is excellent. He-Man said with a smile. The corners of Ning Ziyuan's mouth twitched. To be honest, Ning Ziyuan was quite good-looking. He had delicate features and looked a little like the male lead in a Korean drama. In a big hospital like this, most of the attending physicians were middle-aged men in their 40s. Occasionally, a young doctor would be in high demand. In the past, a nurse had confessed to him, but he only had Huamin in his heart. Moreover, the two of them had bought a house to get married, so he didn't dare to think too much about it. Now that something like this happened, he really needed to think about it, really? I didn't know I was so popular. Ning Ziyuan smiled. Of course. Just as He-Man said of course. Ning Ziyuan suddenly lowered his head, leaned in close to He-Man's lips, and asked, Then, does that include you? He-Man smiled so widely that her eyes turned into crescents. Then, she replied teasingly, Why don't you guess? In the ophthalmology department, Ning Ziyuan was flirting with a young nurse. Over at the OB-GYN department, Huamin was not in the mood to work. Her mind was elsewhere, and she was completely out of it. Huamin, how many times have I called you? The head nurse yelled angrily. Chapter 14. Yes, head nurse. I told you to bring me some new anti-smog masks. Are you deaf? Yes, I'll go get them now. Senior Huo, what's wrong? Is there something on your mind? Do you want to take the day off? You look like you're in a daze. The nurse, Huang Yu, who had just arrived, asked considerately. Huamin shook her head tiredly. She had been restless the entire day, but it wasn't because of her Cold War with Ning Ziyuan. It was because she kept thinking about the man she shouldn't be thinking about. Did he really come back? Everything that happened last night wasn't a dream, right? She was in a daze until it was time to get off work. Huamin took off her white nurse uniform and put on a light blue dress. She grabbed her bag and walked out. She saw that the white Chevrolet parked outside was Ning Ziyuan's car. He had just brought it home last month. Because they were planning to get married, Ning Ziyuan's parents took the money and the two of them took their own salaries. It was over 100,000 yuan in total. It looked quite nice. The license plate was 0510, which was Ning Ziyuan's birthday. It had to be him. Did he stop here to wait for her? Huamin was just about to walk over and ask when she saw He-Man, who was wearing a mini-skirt, quickly open the car door and get into the passenger seat. Then, the car sped off. Huamin's eyes dimmed bit by bit. She calmly took out her phone and dialed the number. What's up? On the other end, Ning Ziyuan seemed to be a little impatient. Are you off work? I want to go with you in your car. Not yet. I still have surgery to do. I have to work overtime. You can go back first. Don't call me if there's nothing important. That's all. After speaking, Ning Ziyuan hung up. Huamin laughed mockingly. She already knew why Ning Ziyuan lied. It seemed like he wanted to get revenge on her. However, this method of his was really vulgar. Huamin suddenly felt that the ordinary man she had dated for 3 years wasn't ordinary at all. She looked up at the sky and realized that the sky was gray, just like her mood. At this time, Zhu Lingling called, Mian, are you off work? Yes. Come to my house. I'm off today, so I made something delicious for you. Soy sauce pork trotters. I happen to be very hungry. Wait for me. After hanging up the phone, Huamin hailed a taxi and went directly to Zhu Lingling's house. Zhu Lingling's parents lived in the county. For the convenience of going to work, she rented a cozy apartment near the airport. Huamin would come over to freeload whenever she had nothing to do. It seemed that other than her home and the hospital, this was the only place she went. After the pork trotters were served, before Huamin could eat, Zhu Lingling began to bombard him with questions about what happened yesterday. Huamin couldn't help but tell him the whole story, of course. She didn't talk about the violent scene of him forcing a kiss on her. She avoided the important parts and talked about the trivial parts. That's what happened. Miss Zhu Lingling, please comment. Huamin pursed her lips and looked at Zhu Lingling obediently. Her big, watery eyes were very cute. Oh my God, this is too exciting. So, you're saying that Qin Shu, that arrogant guy, proposed to you yesterday? Zhu Lingling looked at her in surprise. Sis, please, that's not the main point. Ziyuan doesn't believe me and wants to break up with me. Huamin protested. Mian, tell me the truth. Do you still love Qin Shu? Zhu Lingling asked in all seriousness. Upon hearing this, Huamin was slightly surprised. Chapter 15. Then, she tilted her head and looked out the window with a complicated expression on her face. After a while, she slowly opened her mouth and said, So what if I love him or not? Some things have already happened and can't be undone. Nothing can change the situation today. Zhu Lingling could hear the deep melancholy in Hua Min's voice. As her friend, she felt bad for her. Mian, when we were in high school, you and Qin Shu got together, and that made me believe in fairy tales. Both of you were so outstanding, but how did things end up like this? It's such a pity. Actually, don't be mad at me. I still think that Ning Ziyuan isn't good enough for you. Back in school, you were... Before Zhu Lingling could finish her sentence, Huamin interrupted her. Lingling, don't talk about it anymore. What's done is done. No matter what I think about Qin Shu, we will never be together. You know how big of a blow that happened 7 years ago was to me? My family was destroyed. Could there be anything worse than that? I really wish I was the one who died back then. At this point, Huamin's voice was choked with sobs. Zhu Lingling knew that it was because of that incident that Huamin hid her limelight and was willing to be an ordinary person. But it wasn't her fault. Zhu Lingling put her hand on Huamin's shoulder and comforted her. Mian, listen to me. You said that it's been so long. Don't blame yourself. You've been trying to make up for it all these years, haven't you? I think you can blame it on Qin Shu. You know that he's been abroad for so many years. With his feelings for you, I don't think he knew anything about it. So what? At the end of the day, he's still a member of the Qin family. How can he shirk all responsibility for what his family did? Huamian asked with red eyes. Mian? Zhu Lingling still wanted to say something. However, Huamian raised her arm and interrupted her. Lingling, don't say anything. You're my best friend, and I know you're saying this for my own good. But you can't empathize with what I've been through, so let me decide for myself. Okay, I just hope that no matter what decision you make, you won't make yourself suffer. You've been through a lot over the years. I really hope that you're still the arrogant Huamian who doesn't care about anyone. Upon hearing this, Huamian smiled bitterly and didn't say anything else. Huamian was about to eat pig's feet, but because of the heavy topic of Qin Shu's, Huamian's face, Huamin's mouth, Huamian her mouth, Huamian. He took a small bite and left in a hurry. On the way back, she was still hesitating whether or not she should call Ning Ziyuan. After all, she was at fault in the first place. She picked up her phone and was about to dial when her phone rang. Her brother's number was calling. She immediately picked it up. Jixin, sis, come to the hospital right now. Mom fainted. On the other end of the phone, Jing Jixin's voice was filled with mixed emotions. What? Mom fainted? How? Which hospital? I'll be there right away. She's at the 4th People's Hospital near our house. She's on the 7th floor, room 709. Okay, I'll be there right away. After hanging up, Huamin looked anxious. Sir, let's turn around and head to the 4th People's Hospital. 20 minutes later, Huamin rushed upstairs and pushed open the door to the hospital room. He saw his mother lying on the hospital bed. Her face was haggard, and she was still unconscious with an oxygen tube. He was a boy who looked to be around 18 or 19 years old. He was wearing a black Nike tracksuit, and his hair was slightly long. He was Huamin's half-brother, Jing Zhixin. "Sis, you're here." "Zhixin, what happened to Mom? Weren't you at school? Why are you at the hospital?" Chapter 16. I was in PE class when I got a call from our neighbor, Annie Wu. She said that our mom fainted in front of the grocery store, so I immediately took a leave of absence and called 120. "Mom's always been in good health. How did this happen?" Huamin was worried. Just then, the door opened and the doctor walked in. "Who is Yang Meron's family? Come out for a second." "I am." Huamin hurriedly followed the doctor out. "You're the patient's daughter, right?" The doctor guessed based on Huamin's age. Huamin nodded. "Do you know that the patient has high blood pressure?" The doctor asked sternly. "I know, but my mother has been taking medicine and taking care of herself. I check her blood pressure when I have time, and it's been pretty stable. Our guess is that the patient's blood pressure went up because of a strong shock. As her daughter, you need to be careful. The patient has a weak heart and high blood pressure. If you don't pay attention, she could die. Do you understand?" A strong shock. Huamin was a little surprised. She worked outside and only came home once every 2 weeks. Her little brother was so well-behaved. No one could make her mother so angry. "You should ask the patient when she wakes up. We suggest that she stay in the hospital for a week to lower her blood pressure and observe." "What do you think?" "No problem." As a nurse, Huamin didn't dare to be negligent. She knew the severity of her mother's illness. "Well, then go and pay the hospitalization fees." "Okay." Huamin nodded. She hurriedly went downstairs and arrived at the cashier on the first floor. "The total is 7,980 yuan. That much." Huamin looked troubled. Half of her savings were spent on her little brother, and the other half was used to pay for the down payment for the house with Ningzi yuan. She only had 3,000 yuan in her card. She couldn't afford to pay 7,000 yuan all of a sudden. "Are you paying or not? Hurry up, there's still people waiting in line. Don't block the way." "Yes." Huamin quickly took out her credit card. She got this card last year and heard that it allowed her to overdraw 10,000 yuan. She had never used it before. After paying, she returned to the hospital room. By this time, her mother had already woken up. "Mom, are you awake?" Huamin asked cautiously. "What are you doing here?" "Get lost." Yang Meirong seemed very angry when she saw Huamin. "Mom, I was the one who called sis." Jing Zhixin quickly tried to smooth things over. "I don't need you to visit me. I'm not sick, so I don't need to stay in a hospital. Zhixin, go get me discharged. Let's go home." Yang Meirong insisted on getting out of bed. "Mom, your condition is a little serious now. You have to lower your blood pressure first. You can only be discharged after a week. It's none of your business. Who did this to me?" "If it weren't for a jinx like you, would this family have ended up like this?" Yang Meirong roared. "Mom, don't say that. It's not my sister's fault." "Shut up. Not only did this jinx cause your father's death, but now that that bastard is back, he's coming to our house to flaunt his wealth. He thinks he's so great just because he's rich and wants to make it up to me. That sounds nice, but who cares about stinky money? She's already dead. No amount of money can bring her back to life." Yang Meirong was very agitated. When Huamin heard this, her heart skipped a beat. She seemed to understand what was going on. "Mom, did Chinchu look for you?" Chapter 17. How dare you ask me that? Don't tell me you guys haven't met in private. Yang Meirong glared at Huamin fiercely. Huamin was speechless. It was true that she had met Chinchu, although it wasn't her intention. However, her mother wouldn't listen to her explanation. Anything she said now would only make her angrier. "Mom, rest well. I'll come see you tomorrow. I don't need your kindness. If you have any shame, then don't ever come see me again. I don't want to die early, just like your Uncle Jing." Her mother's mocking words made Huamin's heart ache slightly. She had felt guilty about Uncle Jing's death for 7 years, and no one had been sadder than her during these 7 years. Thinking of this, she didn't say anything else. She pushed open the door and left. "Sis, I'll walk you out." Jing Jixin followed behind her. He knew that his sister must be upset. "Sis, our mother has a bad temper. Don't take it to heart. She has been like this for the past few years. Moreover, I read in the books that women at this age are prone to menopause. Our mother is definitely not running away." "You little brat, what kind of books are you reading?" Huamin looked at his brother, both angry and amused. "Sis, don't worry. I'll take care of Mom. You go do what you need to do." Huamin nodded. "I'll take a few days off tomorrow to take care of Mom. You could go back to school tomorrow. Oh, here's your allowance for next month. Take it." Huamin took out 1,000 yuan in cash from his bag and handed it to his brother. "Sis, I don't want it. I still have money from last month. Plus, I have a part-time job at school. You don't need to give me money. You're getting married, and Ziyuan and I have a lot of things to spend money on. Take it. Our marriage won't hurt you. Jixin, I know you care about your sister, so you don't spend money recklessly. However, you can't scrimp on what you need. You're still growing, so eat more." After speaking, Huamin dotingly patted his brother's head. "I know, sis. You too." When Huamin left the hospital, he had mixed feelings. She didn't expect Qin Shu to find her mother and the others so quickly. What was he trying to do? It seemed that there was really a need to talk. She took out her phone and scrolled through the call history. That unfamiliar number, ending with 8,866, should be hers. After a moment of hesitation, she called him. "Hey, Qin Shu, what do you want?" Huamin asked angrily as soon as the call was connected. "I'm sorry, Boss Qin is in a meeting. May I ask who you are?" An unfamiliar male voice came from the other end. Huamin felt a little awkward and remained silent. "I'm Chairman Qin's assistant, Xiaoyang. I can pass on your message." "No need," Huamin said coldly and hung up the phone. GK Empire headquarters. Inside a high-level meeting room, Qin Shu was wearing a black, Italian-style shirt with luxurious diamonds on the cuffs. He looked extremely mysterious. There wasn't a trace of a smile or warmth on his handsome face. Even his eyes were icy cold. He took over as GK's CEO the day after he returned to China. His father, Qin Yuman, was already half retired from his position as chairman. It seemed like he was very comfortable handing over the family business to his son. "President Qin, the chairman has already agreed to the Greenfield Manor project. We just need to sign it. Can you see if you can sign it when you have time? Then we can start work," the director of the development zone said carefully. Chapter 18. Qin Shu slowly spun the black pen in his hand, but he didn't say a word. The 20 or so executives in the room held their breaths and didn't dare to say anything. The atmosphere was a bit tense. After a while, Qin Shu said, "I've already passed on that project." "Huh? Passed? Why not, President Qin? That project took our department 3 months to come up with the budget and measurements for a year. It'll definitely make money." The chairman already agreed. Upon hearing this, Qin Shu looked up and nonchalantly glanced at the director of the development zone. Then, he said, "I'm in charge of GK now. I don't need a reason to do anything. If you can't accept it, you can submit your resignation letter." After speaking, Qin Shu threw the pen in his hand onto the table with a bang. Everyone was so scared that they didn't dare to make a sound. Then, he walked out of the conference room. He knew that the Greenfield project was going to make money. However, if he wanted to develop that project, he would have to force Second High to choose a new location. No one knew how important Second High was to him, just like no one knew how much he loved the girl named Huamin. Inside the president's office, President Qin, there was a call just now. "I picked it up for you," but the caller didn't say who it was. Assistant Yang carefully handed over the phone. Qin Shu glanced at the caller ID. At that moment, his originally cold eyes were filled with warmth. He immediately called back. "Mian, you're looking for me?" "Qin Shu, let's talk." On the other end of the phone, Huamin, who had calmed down, was no longer furious. "Okay, where are you? I'll come pick you up." "It's okay, I'm at the Left Bank Cafe on Halfway Mountain." "Okay, I'll be right there." After hanging up, Qin Shu's lips curled up slightly. He was completely different from the person he was in the conference room. Assistant Yang was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. The new president had been in office for a week, but he had never seen him smile at anyone, not even the chairman. However, this phone call actually made the president smile. Oh my God. It seemed that the owner of this number must be an important person to the president. She had to be more careful in the future. Qin Shu drove the Audi R8 to the meeting place in less than 15 minutes. Huamin was already waiting there. Through the large glass window, he could see the woman sitting by the window from afar. Although he only saw the side of her face, it still caused ripples in his heart. For the past 7 years, he had been thinking about her all the time, to the point where he was about to go crazy. He suppressed the impulse in his heart and slowly walked in. Huamin was dressed very simply today. Before coming to see Qin Shu, she went back to her rented apartment to change her clothes. Very simple white trousers and a yellow short-sleeved shirt, simple and elegant. Huamin was a lazy woman. She never put on makeup unless it was necessary. She felt that the chemicals on her face were sticky and didn't seem to be anti-aging. She might as well just wear a clean face. Qin Shu slowly walked over and sat down in front of her. Huamin came back to her senses and said faintly, "What do you want to drink?" "The same as you," he replied. "I'm drinking water." "Then I'll drink water too," he insisted. Huamin was helpless. She waved her hand and called for the waiter. "Please give him a glass of water." She turned around and stared at his unfamiliar, yet familiar face. She slowly said, "Qin Shu, MHM, let's talk." "Okay, what do you want? Do you want us to be the same as before?" Qin Shu blurted out without thinking. "Huh, that's impossible. Qin Shu, things are different now. Everything is different." Huamin smiled bitterly. "I'm sorry about your stepfather. I just found out." To her surprise, Qin Shu actually apologized. His attitude was extremely sincere. One had to know that after knowing him for so long, she knew too well how arrogant he was. It was harder than ascending to heaven for him to take the initiative to lower his head and admit his mistake. The dead can't come back to life. What's the use of apologizing? "I can make it up to you," Qin Shu added. Huamin sneered. "Make it up to you? With what? Your life? Or your money? Did you know that when you went to look for my mom yesterday, she had high blood pressure and was hospitalized? One of us is already dead. What else do you want? Are you only happy when you force me to my death? HM?" Chapter 19. I didn't know it would be like that. "Qin Shu, please let me go." "Really? I've been living a good life without you for the past 7 years. Now that you're back, my family isn't in peace anymore. I really regret being with you. Do you know that? If I hadn't been so arrogant and ended up with a rich young master like you, my stepfather wouldn't have died, and my mother wouldn't hate me so much. It's been 7 years, and she still hasn't forgiven me. Now that I'm finally able to live a normal life, please don't bother me anymore. Are you speaking from the bottom of your heart?" Qin Shu looked at Huamin with a sour expression. Huamin pursed his lips and slowly replied, "Yes, I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. Plus, I'm getting married soon. Ning Ziyuan and I have been together for 3 years, and we have a great relationship. Let bygones be bygones." After Qin Shu heard this, he quietly looked at Huamin and didn't say anything else. "Anyways, I won't see you again, and there's no need for us to see each other. If you cause trouble for my family again, I'm going to call the police. That's all." After Huamin spoke, he placed a 100 yuan bill on the table and got up to leave. Her temperament was almost the same as 7 years ago. She was always so decisive when doing things. She wouldn't drag things out or hesitate. And the person he loved was this girl with such character. Regarding Huamin's family, the truth was that Huamin might have misunderstood him, and he really wanted to make it up to them. 1 million yuan wasn't a lot, but it should have been enough for them to live a better life. However, not only did Huamin's mother not take it, she even yelled at him. He knew that Huamin's stepfather's death, even though he wasn't the one who did it, was because of him. The dead couldn't be brought back to life, so it was only right that Huamin hated her. Looking at the 2 glasses of water on the table, Qin Shu sat alone for a long time before finally leaving the coffee shop. After Huamin finished talking, he returned to his rented apartment with a heavy heart. Although she felt that her words were harsh enough, she didn't know if Qin Shu would listen. They had not seen each other for 7 years. Many things must have happened in these 7 years. Did he not have a girlfriend when he was abroad? As he thought about it, his mind started to wander again. She only came back to her senses when she heard the sound of the key turning on the door. Ning Ziyuan pushed open the door and walked in. He was not surprised to see Huamin at home. "Ziyuan, you're back. Have you eaten?" "Okay," Ning Ziyuan replied with an unpleasant expression, then walked towards the bedroom. She completely ignored Huamin, who was sitting on the couch in the living room. Huamin got up and followed him in. "Are there many surgeries today? Are you tired?" Ning Ziyuan didn't answer. Instead, he opened the wardrobe and started packing his clothes. "Ziyuan, what are you doing? I won't be coming back to live here in the future." Ning Ziyuan's tone was cold. "Why?" "Because I don't want to see your face." His answer was direct and vicious. Huamin fell silent. "I'm going to live in the new house. I don't want anything here. As for the down payment you took, I won't give it to you. After all, I spent a lot on you over the past 3 years. Just treat it as you paying me back. From now on, we don't owe each other anything." "Ziyuan, it's not about money. The problem is that I don't have money." "Haha, your ex-boyfriend is so rich. He's the heir of GK. Huamin, I really underestimated you. If you have such a powerful ex-boyfriend, why are you still with me? Are you using me to pass the time?" Chapter 20. Judging from his tone, Ning Ziyuan already knew Qin Shu's identity. It wasn't hard to find out since Qin Shu's name was often mentioned in financial newspapers and on TV. Huamin explained patiently. "Ziyuan, I talked to him today, and I won't see him again. I just want to be with you. So don't be angry anymore, okay? Do you think I'll believe your bullshit? Do you think I'll marry you? Am I crazy? Do you think I'll wait until you're married to make me a cuckold?" After speaking, Ning Ziyuan picked up a suitcase and walked out in a huff. "Ziyuan, have you calmed down? Are you sure you didn't say that out of anger?" Huamin reached out to stop him and asked again. "Fuck off. I don't want to talk to you. I advise you to resign. After all, it's not good to stay in the same hospital. As a doctor, I won't resign. You have no future as a nurse, so why don't you find your ex-boyfriend and continue living the life of a god?" After speaking, Ning Ziyuan violently flung Huamin's hand away, pushed open the door, and left. Looking at Ning Ziyuan's back as he left, Huamin didn't feel sad at all. It was as if he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. But why was this happening? She was a little dumbfounded herself. After a while, she took out her phone and sent Zhu Lingling a WeChat message. "Lingling, what are you doing? I just flew back. I'm eating instant noodles. Come out and have a drink. I just broke up. Should I be sad?" "Ahem. Broke up? What's going on? Did Qin Shu go abroad again?" "Please, big sister, my current boyfriend is Ning Ziyuan." "Oh, that guy. You should have dumped him a long time ago. He's not good enough for you." "Okay, stop talking nonsense. Are you coming out?" "Of course. Find a place. I'll be there soon." As expected of China's best friends, they arrived on the spot. 20 minutes later, at Dark Night Bar, Zhu Lingling arrived as promised. As an air stewardess, her temperament was indescribable. Wearing a tight black dress, she was extremely seductive. On the other hand, Huamin didn't look like he was out to play at all. Instead, he looked like a waiter. "Please, we're out to play. Can't you wear something better? Don't act like an old aunt. I don't have many clothes to begin with." Huamin smiled faintly. For the past few years, half of her salary had been used to pay for her younger brother's education, and the other half had been saved to buy a house with Ning Ziyuan. She couldn't bear to spend it recklessly. Indeed, she didn't have any nice clothes. Even the dress she wore at the class reunion was a gift from Zhu Lingling, who had bought it for her and didn't want to wear it. As a woman, a 24-year-old woman who was as beautiful as a flower, she indeed did not live a delicate life. "Mian, it's fine that you left Ning Ziyuan. It's just that he didn't know how to cherish you." What's that saying again? People don't recognize gold and jade and mistake pearls for dust. He must be blind to give you up. Don't say that. "I'm not as good as you think I am," Huamin replied softly with a wine glass in her hand. "Who said that?" In my eyes, you're one of a kind. You're a genius with an IQ of 130. Okay, let's not talk about it anymore. You'll probably talk about this for the rest of your life. Before Zhu Lingling could finish her sentence, Huamin quickly stopped her. However, Zhu Lingling was right. Huamin was 24 years old, but her classmates were 27 or 28 years old. This was because she had skipped 3 grades in a row. Moreover, she had gotten into the best elite school in the city, C-City Second High, with a score of 697 on her middle school entrance exam. Back then, the full score was only 700. It caused quite a stir, and she even made it onto the newspapers. At that time, her stepfather hadn't died yet. That night, her family celebrated with her by going to a luxurious buffet at a 5-star hotel. But now, things had changed if she didn't get together with Qin Shu and become a thorn in the side of the Qin family. Her stepfather wouldn't have died. Her life would have been bright. In her second year of high school, she received an invitation from the most famous university in the United States. Moreover, she was offered a full scholarship. However, in order to be with Qin Shu, she gave up several opportunities. In the end, her family was ruined. Right at this moment, a voice disrupted her train of thought. "Hey, Huamin, long time no see." A deep voice sounded. She tilted her head and was surprised to see the man's face. "Why are you here?" Huamin's attitude was not friendly. Chapter 21. You look surprised. Huasiqian smiled. He was dressed in a white shirt and black pants, looking as gentle and elegant as jade. However, for some reason, Huamin hated this person. He hated him even more than he hated Hui Yanyan and Huasi. Speaking of their relationship, there was no way to cut it off, and it was even messier. Huamin's mother, Yang Meiyerong, was a mediocre third-rate actress when she was young. She specialized in period dramas, and although she wasn't devastatingly beautiful, she was still pretty. At that time, she took advantage of her youth and went down the wrong path. She once became one of the mistresses of the heir of the wealthy Hua family, Hua Zhenghai. She thought that giving birth to a child would help him regain his status, but unexpectedly, both mother and daughter were abandoned by Hua Zhenghai. The Hua family never acknowledged Huamin as an illegitimate daughter. Huasiqian, on the other hand, was the young master of the Hua family. He was the adopted son of the Hua family's first wife, Jiang Hong. Although he wasn't her biological son, he still had a high status in the Hua family. Hua Yanyan and Huasi, on the other hand, were born of Hua Zhenghai's second wife, Shun Jiani, and were extremely favored. Shun Jiani was also a popular actress back in the day. The reason why she was able to stand out from all the other mistresses was because she had a lot of tricks up her sleeves. Currently, the Hua family only revealed these 3 people to the public. As for Huamin, no one other than the Hua family knew about him. Huasiqian, on the other hand, visited Huamin a few times in private. He gave Huamin money, but Huamin didn't accept it. This was because she always felt that other than her surname, she had nothing to do with the Hua family. That person, she never admitted that he was her father. She would rather love her stepfather, Uncle Jing, or... What's wrong? It's normal for young Master Hua to show up at an event like this. It's normal for commoners like us to come here and have fun. Did we surprise you? Huamin sneered. Huamin, you seem to be very hostile towards me. Why? I remember that I was nice to you, and, according to seniority, you should call me Big Brother. Huasiqian raised his wine glass and approached Huamin. Zhu Lingling quietly listened on the side. She didn't want to interrupt. Young Master Hua, you must be joking. You're the son of a rich family, and I'm just a commoner. How can we talk about siblings? As for hostility, you're right. Did you know? There's a type of person in this world that you don't hate at first sight. What a coincidence. You're the type that I hate at first sight. After Huamin Hua finished Huamin and turned me in Huamin, that hasn't been feeling well lately. You should go visit him when you have time. Huasiqian didn't seem to want to give up. You try to find something to talk about with Huamin. You can inform me when he passes away. I think I will burn incense in front of his coffin on account of the tadpole he gave birth to 24 years ago. Huasiqian didn't know what to say. His expression changed. He turned around and left. He didn't want to be snubbed anymore. After Hua Xiqian left, Zhu Lingling covered her mouth and exclaimed, "Oh my God! Oh my God, my lady, you're awesome. That's the Hua Mian I know." Haha, she doesn't even care about her own father. What biological father? I've never acknowledged him. Hua Mian was a bit upset. He took another sip of wine. Chapter 22. It's so fun to watch you argue. Your mouth is still as poisonous as ever. Haha, I think. Qin Shu must have fallen in love with your willfulness back then. Zhu Lingling realized that she had said something wrong and immediately changed the topic. Ahem, what I meant was that even the young master of the Hua family was embarrassed by you. You're amazing. I want to be your disciple. I'm no longer taking in disciples. Hua Mian teased with a smile. Idiot, keep showing off. Haha, as if you've taken in a disciple before. Zhu Lingling scolded with a smile. Time always passed quickly when you were fooling around with your best friend. The two of them never caused trouble at nightclubs. By the time they finished drinking, it was already late at night. Then, the two of them each took a taxi home. After returning to her rented apartment, Hua Mian changed into a nightgown and sent Zhu Lingling a WeChat message. I'm home. Lingling, what about you? I'm home safely. I'm going to take a shower. You should sleep early. Good night. Zhu Lingling replied almost instantly. Hua Mian was about to turn off her phone when she suddenly received a text. The number was 8866. She knew that it was Qin Shu's number. Are you asleep? It was just 3 simple words, but Hua Mian didn't know why, but she felt her heart beating wildly. It had been 7 years. It was a strange feeling. She thought for a moment, deleted the text, turned off her phone, and went to sleep. On the other side of the mountain, inside the mansion, Qin Shu didn't receive a reply for a long time, so he knew that it was over. With Hua Mian's personality, she definitely wouldn't reply to him. He got up and walked downstairs. He walked to the wine cabinet and took out a bottle of red wine. Just then, he heard heavy footsteps behind him. He didn't need to answer to know who it was. Chu, come here for a moment. I have something to ask you. Qin Yuman had not been sleeping well recently. In the middle of the night, he heard some noise downstairs and walked out. As expected, his son was still awake. Qin Shu calmly poured a glass of red wine, then walked to the living room and sat down on the sofa. He lowered his head and gently shook the red wine glass. His navy blue nightgown accentuated his beautiful face. His eyes were downcast, and his slender fingers were tapping on the glass of red wine. Any woman who saw this scene would have fallen for him. Qin Yuman looked at his son and felt a sense of unfamiliarity. I heard that you rejected the green space proposal in today's meeting. That's right, he answered simply. Why? Qin Yuman was slightly angered. I don't. Nonsense. Is doing business all based on one's preferences? If that was the case, GK would have gone bankrupt a long time ago. Chu, I trust you. That's why I'm putting GK in your hands. You can't be so willful. I have my principles. If you don't trust me, you can do it yourself. You know that I've never been interested in the boring position of GK's president. Qin Yuman was speechless. After a while, Qin Shu suddenly raised his head. His eyes flashed as he asked, Dad, do you still remember the bet we made 7 years ago? Upon hearing this, Qin Yuman was slightly surprised, but he didn't say anything else. 7 years ago, he made a bet with his son. That bet was very important. What are you trying to say? Qin Yuman frowned as he looked at Qin Shu. Nothing. I'm just reminding you that I've done what I promised you. As for you, shouldn't you fulfill your promise? Upon hearing this, Qin Yuman's expression became more and more unsightly. In the end, he only said one thing. I don't care what you do, but I want a 15% commission for GK's performance this quarter. Otherwise, the Greenland case will be reopened, and you will be demoted. Don't think that I won't do anything to you just because you're my son. After saying this, Qin Yuman swung his arm and left. It was obvious that he was very angry. He didn't mention the promise he made 7 years ago, but Qin Shu knew that his father understood what he meant. As for GK's performance, he thought that he could achieve a 15% increase with his eyes closed. It was such a simple task, so he didn't know why his father was so confident about it. At 5:30 a.m., Qin Shu was woken up by loud noises. A middle-aged man in a black suit was standing at the door. Behind him were 8 armed SWAT officers. "Dr. Qin, sorry to disturb you. This is an emergency, and we really need you right now." The Qin couple didn't know what to do, but Qin Shu's expression was calm. "Wait a second, let me change." Then he put his hands in his pockets and went upstairs. After Qin Shu left, Lady Qin asked with a pale face and a trembling voice, "Yumin, did our son piss off someone important?" Chapter 23. Humin didn't sleep well last night, so he woke up with dark circles under his eyes. He made congee and 2 egg pancakes and brought them to Fourth People's Hospital. Luckily, he had a night shift today, so he was free during the day. Although he was tired, he couldn't delay Jixin's classes. "Mom, I brought you breakfast. Take it out. I'm not eating." Yang Meiyerong was still throwing a tantrum. "If you don't have an appetite, you can eat less. It's really good. I made it myself, so it's clean and hygienic. I'll put it here." Then, Humin put the breakfast on the table, tidied up the room, and left. After Humin left, Yang Meiyerong glanced at the breakfast on the table, and her stomach grumbled. She looked at the door and saw that Humin wasn't back yet, so she immediately picked up the breakfast and started eating. Although Yang Meiyerong had a bad temper, she wasn't a bad person. It wasn't that she didn't like her daughter, but her husband Jingda's accidental death had caused a knot in her heart. In a doctor's office, "Doctor, is my mother getting better?" Humin asked worriedly. "She's obviously getting better and could be discharged in a few days. But after that, she needs to continue taking blood pressure medication." "Okay, thank you." Hearing that his mother was fine, Humin finally let out a sigh of relief. "But the hospitalization fee isn't enough. You can pay for it," the doctor reminded him. Humin was a little surprised. Didn't she just pay 7,000 yuan the other day? It was only a few days, and it was already gone. That day, she overspent her credit card, and with Jixin's living expenses, she didn't have much money left. If it was before, he might have been able to borrow some from Ning Ziyuan. However, in the current situation, there was no hope. She had no choice but to call Zhu Lingling. Zhu Lingling immediately transferred 10,000 yuan to her bank account. "Lingling, thank you." She sent her a WeChat message, a little embarrassed. "Don't be silly. Tell me if it's not enough. Any quality is more important. Don't worry." Zhu Lingling's reply warmed Humin's heart. She felt that it was worth it to befriend her. In fact, after her stepfather's car accident, the Qin family had offered to pay a large sum of money, but they had refused. He insisted that the driver who caused the accident pay with his life. In the end, he had no choice but to be convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol and serve 5 years in prison. However, they did not receive a single cent in compensation. Now, 7 years had passed, and the culprit had long been released from prison. But her uncle Jing was buried in the North Hill Public Cemetery, never to wake up again. Therefore, no matter how her mother treated her or how much she hated her, she could understand. Because in these 7 years, she could not forgive herself either. "Mom, I'm working the night shift today, so I'll be leaving soon. Have a good rest. I'll order lunch and dinner for you, and Jixin will come to see you tomorrow." Scram. Yang Meirong's expression was still unfriendly. Humin then took a bus to the first hospital. When she arrived at the hospital, she looked at her watch. There were still 40 minutes before work, so she changed into her nurse's uniform and went to the ophthalmology building. She still wanted to try to get back together with Ning Ziyuan. After all, they had been together for 3 years. Even if there was no love, there was still family. When Humin arrived, the door was unlocked. She was just about to knock when she heard a coquettish voice from inside. "Dr. Ning, you're so annoying. You're messing up my hair." Chapter 24. "It's okay. I'll comb it for you later. Come, let me give you a kiss." Humin could tell that it was Iman and Ning Yuan's voices. No wonder he was in such a hurry to move out. So this was the reason. She smirked, put down her hand that was about to knock on the door, and turned around to leave. Humin, why aren't you coming in?" Another doctor from the ophthalmology department happened to bump into her at the door. It's okay. I have something to do. Just then, the two people inside heard them clearly. He-Man immediately got up from Ning Ziyuan's arms and fixed her collar and hair. Dr. Zhu from the ophthalmology department came in at the same time. He glanced at He-Man and then said to Ning Ziyuan, "I just saw your fiancé." "Oh, really?" Ning Ziyuan answered nonchalantly. "Are you guys okay? Aren't you getting married?" "We're not." "No way." Dr. Zhu was surprised. "That kind of woman, I don't want her." After speaking, Ning Ziyuan got up, buttoned his white coat, and walked out. He-Man carefully followed him out, seeing this. Dr. Zhu shook his head helplessly. Young people these days really treated relationships like child's play. What kind of world was this? "Dr. Ning, you and Huamin really broke up? What do you think?" That's great. So people won't call me a homewrecker. When are you going to announce our relationship at the hospital?" He-Man complained coquettishly. Ning Ziyuan glanced at her nonchalantly. "What's the rush? Isn't it more exciting to be in a secret relationship?" You're so naughty, seriously." He-Man reached out and gently pinched Ning Ziyuan's hand and said in a coquettish voice. As an assistant nurse in the ophthalmology department, He-Man had long admired Ning Ziyuan because Ning Ziyuan was good-looking and smart. He was good at ophthalmology. Although he was only an intern now, he would soon be promoted to a full doctor, and his status would be even higher. Previously, she had been looking for opportunities to get close to him. At that time, Ning Ziyuan only had eyes for Huamin. It made her go crazy with jealousy. She had seen with her own eyes how Ning Ziyuan bought supper for Huamin. As long as Huamin liked to eat it, he would buy it even if he had to work the night shift. He was a very considerate man. Now that she finally had the opportunity, how could she let it go? In the nurse's dressing room, Huamin leaned against the wall and rested. With a glass of water in his hand, he was a little distracted. When He-Man came in, she found that she was sitting there alone, and a sense of pride rose in her heart. "Sister Huamin, what's the matter?" Huamin tilted his head, his expression indifferent. "Sister Huamin, Dr. Ning and I know." "So what? Do you want me to congratulate you?" Huamin sneered. He-Man was slightly stunned. This Huamin didn't seem like the gentle woman she usually saw. "That's not what I meant. I'm just saying that I didn't do anything wrong. Even if it weren't for me, Dr. Ning wouldn't be with you. He told me that he really cares if his future wife isn't a prostitute." "Really? Judging by your tone, you must have slept with him. Otherwise, why would you come here to lecture me?" Huamin didn't look at He-Man in the eye. She picked up the glass of water and took another sip. He-Man didn't want to give up, so she deliberately provoked her. "Of course, I'm clean. Dr. Ning said that he would marry me." "So what?" Huamin stood up and coldly questioned He-Man nothing. "I just wanted to say that I won this battle, didn't I? Please don't bother Dr. Ning anymore. After all, you guys have already broken up. Being shameless isn't something a rational woman should do," He-Man warned. Upon hearing this, Huamin smiled sweetly. This smile made He-Man's hair stand on end. "What are you smiling about?" "My mom told me that if I don't like a toy, I should donate it to children who are more unfortunate than me, because they are more pitiful." "You?" He-Man was speechless. She never thought that this seemingly gentle female nurse would have such a dark side to her. "Sorry, excuse me, I have to go to work." Huamin waved her finger and calmly walked out of the changing room. The truth was, she wasn't sad that Ning Ziyuan broke up with her. She just felt that Ning Ziyuan had treated her well over the past few years. So, she wanted to try and make it up to him. Now that things had come to this, of course, she wouldn't ask him to stay. Pestering him? That wasn't her style at all. In the obstetrics room, just as Huamin was about to enter the room to help, the head nurse called out to him. "Head nurse, you were looking for me?" Huamin turned around. "The hospital director wants you to go to his office," the head nurse said word by word. "The hospital director? Is he looking for me?" Huamin was a little surprised, but more than that, she was confused. This VIP was rumored to be very, very busy. He didn't even come back to the hospital a few times a year. He didn't even have the chance to meet with the head nurse. So why would he suddenly want to see her? What was going on? Chapter 25. It took less than 10 minutes to walk from the obstetrics department to the director's office, but Huamin took 15 minutes. The director, Wu Zhongxing, was a man in his 50s. He had a square face, sharp and serious eyes, and an old-fashioned style. Of course, Huamin was a nurse who had been interning at the first hospital for less than half a year, so she was not qualified to meet the director in person. She could only see photos of the director from the hospital's official website. It was said that the director was an outstanding orthopedics professor when he was young. He had visited Europe many times before she knew it. She had finally arrived at the director's office. A young man in a suit and leather shoes stood at the door. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. "Are you Huamin?" The man took the initiative to speak. "Yes. The director is waiting for you inside. Go on in." "Okay." Huamin nodded. She knocked on the door with a trace of anxiety in her heart. "Come in." A deep and serious voice came from inside. Huamin walked in and saw the director at first glance. He looked almost the same as in the photo. His white coat was particularly eye-catching. Although he was not yet 60 years old, his hair was already white, and the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes were clearly visible. "Are you Huamin?" The director took the initiative to speak. "I am. Come and sit." The director's attitude was surprisingly amiable. Huamin could not help but feel even more uneasy. "It's okay. I'll just stand." Huamin was a little reserved. "Don't be afraid. Let's sit down and talk." The director waved his hand and insisted that Huamin sit down. Huamin thought that it would be too pretentious to refuse. So, she walked over and sat down gently on the black sofa. "It's like this. I asked you to come here today because I have an important task for you." Huamin nodded. "All right, Dean. As long as it is within my power, I will do my best." Yesterday, a great leader from Beijing came to Sea City for an inspection, but he suddenly suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and was admitted to the highest VIP ward in our hospital overnight. Our medical equipment is not the best, but the leader's injury is serious, and he can't be transferred to another hospital. The current situation is very difficult to handle. As long as he moves, there will be a risk of intracranial hemorrhage. Therefore, a few of our higher-ups had a last-minute meeting and decided to perform a craniotomy in our hospital. It will be carried out in 3 hours, and there will be a top neurosurgery professor personally performing the surgery. After the dean finished speaking, Huamin nodded. She also understood that this matter was indeed very urgent. Moreover, since he was from the capital, his official rank should be extremely high. No wonder the dean valued him so much. "Dean, is there anything I can help with?" "What you need to do is to assist in this surgery as an assistant nurse." After hearing this, Huamin immediately rejected. "Dean, how can I do that? I am an assistant nurse in the obstetrics department. I know nothing about neurosurgery. Also, for such an important surgery, you should let the head nurse do it. You shouldn't use an intern nurse like me. I think you should have seen my resume. I am not a graduate of a famous school. I am just an advanced nursing graduate from an ordinary medical school in our city." "I know all this," the dean replied in a serious tone. "Since you know all this, then letting me do it is really not a wise decision," Huamin said frankly. Chapter 26. Huamian, you don't have to say anymore. The decision has been made, so just do it. Think of it as a mission given to you by the hospital. Once the operation is completed and the leader recovers, I will reward and commend everyone who participated in the operation. Unexpectedly, Huamin shook her head and stood up. "Director, I don't want any commendations or rewards. I just don't think I'm up to the task. I'm sorry, but I can't accept it. You're such a stubborn child." The director sounded helpless. "Director, I'm just being realistic. This surgery is too important. If it were to deliver a baby, I might be able to help. But if it's a brain surgery, I'm afraid I'll cause trouble. You should find someone else." After speaking, Huamin stood up and was about to leave. She was not going to take on this hot potato. She really wondered if the director had taken the wrong medicine. There were hundreds of excellent nurses in the first hospital. Why did he choose her, an intern nurse, and an obstetrician, to be his assistant? It was ridiculous. Just as Huamin was about to open the door, The director's voice sounded again. Huamin, actually, it's not my idea to use you as an assistant. The special consultant for this surgery personally asked for you. The special consultant asked for me. Huamin turned around in disbelief. That's right. The special consultant has a strange temper and is very difficult to hire. We finally managed to convince him to perform the surgery, but he only has one request. He wants you to be the assistant nurse. Otherwise, he won't perform the surgery. You know that a life is at stake. The leader is still in our hospital. If anything happens to him, not only you and me, but the entire hospital can't bear the responsibility. But I don't know any special consultant. Did he get my name wrong? Is there a nurse with the same name as me in our hospital? Huamin was dumbfounded. No, you're the only one called Huamin. I won't get it wrong. But Huamin seemed to be in a difficult position. Huamin, stop with the but. We don't have time to waste. The surgery will be carried out in 3 hours. You have to enter the operating theater in an hour to clean it up and have a meeting with the other chief surgeons. Principal, Huamin, this is an order. You must accept it. President Wu was anxious. His face darkened and his attitude was firm. Huamin remained silent. If she were to resign at this time, wouldn't it be too unkind? However, if the operation failed and the leader died, would he still be able to survive? Huamin really wanted to cry, but no tears came out. She just knew that the dean suddenly looked for her for nothing good. All right, I agree. After a few seconds of silence, Huamin nodded in agreement. President Wu finally let out a sigh of relief. That's great. You can go out and get ready now. You'll enter the VIP operating theater on the top floor in an hour. Okay. Huamin nodded. After walking out of the director's office, Huamin's emotions were extremely complicated. When she returned to the OB/GYN department, the head nurse and a few nurses were already waiting for her. Huamin, the dean called me and briefly explained the situation. Hurry up and get changed and disinfected. I'll send someone to escort you to the operating theater on the top floor. Head nurse, it's okay. I can go by myself. Huamin wasn't used to receiving special treatment. How can that be? This is a big deal. You have to perform well. Sister Huamin, how are you so lucky? I heard that the special professor personally asked for you. I don't know what's going on either. The professor isn't your friend, right? How come we don't get lucky? The nurses asked all at once. I don't know any professors, Huamin denied. All right, that's enough. Hurry up and get ready. Huamin, I have something to remind you. It's a good thing that the dean thinks highly of you, but if you mess up this time, it won't be as simple as getting fired. You know how important this patient is, right? The head nurse's words were sharp. Huamin nodded slightly. I know. If I fail, I might even lose my life. After she said this, the faces of the nurses all changed. Do you still think that Huamin is lucky? Does anyone want to go in her place? The head nurse questioned them with an unpleasant expression. Chapter 27. After Huamin changed, she rejected the nurses from the same department and walked up to the top floor of the VIP lounge alone. On the way there, she thought that if the surgery failed, she might not even have the chance to see her family. She took out her phone and called her mother. It rang for a long time, but no one picked up. Obviously, she didn't want to talk to her. Huamin sighed and called her brother, Jing Jixin. Sis. Jing Jixin's young voice came from the other end. Jixin, are you in class? No, I don't have class today. I'm doing some research in the library. What's up, sis? Oh, it's nothing. I'm a little busy today, so I might not be able to go to Fourth People's Hospital. If you have time, don't forget to take care of Mom. I know. I'll go as soon as I'm done. I'll buy Mom dinner on the way. Okay. Huamin looked like she had a lot on her mind. Sis, I'll hang up now. Jixin, if I'm busy, I might not be able to take care of you guys. Take care of Mom for me. Got it, sis. With that, Jing Jixin hung up. Huamin picked up her phone and found Ning Ziyuan's name. She didn't think it was necessary to call him. Instead, she called Zhu Lingling. However, her phone was turned off. She was obviously on the phone. Huamin put away her phone, took a deep breath, and didn't think about it anymore. She opened the door and walked into the waiting room next to the ER. A man in his 30s took the initiative to speak. Are you Huamin? I am. I'm Song Hung, a neurosurgery assistant. You can call me Little Song. Hello. Hwamin greeted him. These are the names and information of today's surgery staff. Take a look. Little Song handed over a folder. Hwamin slowly opened it. Assistant Surgeon, Wang Qi, male, 47 years old, authoritative neurosurgery specialist, PhD from Beijing Medical University. Assistant Surgeon, Huang Xiaoning, female, 43 years old, authoritative neurosurgery specialist, PhD from Oakland University. Anesthesiologist, Fong Su, male, 42 years old, special class anesthesiologist, medical doctor from Osaka Medical College in Japan. Assistant Nurse, Song Hung, 35 years old, neurosurgery assistant nurse, master's degree in Singapore University School of Medicine. Assistant Nurse, Hwamin, 24 years old, assistant nurse in obstetrics, graduated from Sea City Medical College with a major in nursing. Compared to the previous few resumes, Hwamin felt like he was about to be beaten to a pulp. Since there were so many hidden talents here, why did they have to risk their lives with an obstetrics intern nurse? Right, the hospital director said that he was personally appointed by the chief surgeon, but where is the information of the chief surgeon? She raised her head and asked, why isn't there any information about the chief surgeon? Oh, it's not written here. The special professor is very low-key and doesn't want to reveal too much. I only heard that he is a very young man and is a postdoc at Harvard Medical School. Harvard? Medical School? Postdoc? Hwamin was completely shocked. How could there be such a big shot in a third-tier city like theirs? Why hadn't he heard of it before? All right, you have to have some confidence. We will definitely succeed. Song Hung smiled. I hope so. Hwamin also smiled. At this moment, the door to the waiting room was pushed open and 4 doctors in white coats walked in. When Hwamin saw the person at the back, he felt like his brain was about to short-circuit. That person was Chinshu, right? Chapter 28. Hello, everyone. I'm the chief surgeon for this operation. I'm going to hold a pre-operation meeting for everyone. Please listen carefully and be clear about your responsibilities. I don't want any mistakes in this operation. In other words, this operation is a gamble with all of our lives. We can only succeed, not fail. Do you understand? Understood. The others respected him very much. Only Hwamin was in a daze. He did not have time to answer. After Chin Chu entered the room, he did not even look at Hwamin. He just picked up the thick stack of documents in his hands and began to introduce the patient's condition. Time is precious, so I'll keep it short. The patient has secondary intracranial hemorrhage. Most of the time, it's caused by intracranial hemorrhage in the clinical ventricles. For example, the putamen hemorrhage entered the lateral ventricle between the head of the caudate nucleus and the internal capsule. The medial thalamus hemorrhage entered the third ventricle, and the pons hemorrhage entered the fourth ventricle. We'll use different treatment methods according to the situation. During the operation, to relieve the patient's intracranial pressure, I'll first expand the lateral ventricle and the frontal horn to allow the cerebrospinal fluid to flow out. Then, I'll puncture the intracranial hematoma with a needle and use biochemical enzyme technology to liquefy the hematoma. During the operation, there may be unexpected situations, such as a sudden increase in the patient's blood pressure or a rupture of the intracranial cerebral blood vessels. Therefore, we must make all the necessary precautions in advance. Do you understand? After Chin Chu finished speaking, he looked around and asked in a cold voice. Yes. Everyone answered succinctly. Let's go. Then, Chin Chu took the lead and walked into the operating room next door. Hwamin, pay attention. Did you hear what Professor Chin said just now? I know. In the face of Xiao Song's reminder, Hwamin tried his best to stay calm. After everyone went in, Chin Chu looked back at the anesthesiologist. Let's start. Perform general anesthesia. Yes. Hwamin, go and put the catheter in the patient. I'll give him an infusion and put on an oxygen mask, Xiao Song said softly. Hwamin nodded. He picked up the catheter and walked to the bedside. Suddenly, someone called him. Hwamin. He suddenly called her name. Yes, she responded reflexively. Go and give the patient an infusion. Bring an oxygen mask, Chin Chu ordered. Huamin was just about to say that Little Song was doing it. However, she heard Qin Chu say to Little Song, "Go and insert the catheter for the patient." "Yes, Dr. Qin." Xiao Song didn't dare to disobey the order and immediately switched tasks with Huamin. Huamin suddenly had an idea as he looked at the old man in his 60s lying on the bed. Just now, did Qin Chu deliberately change the mission for them? Was he trying to stop her from inserting the catheter into the patient's body? Oh my God, that can't be right. Was there a need for this? Huamin didn't dare to think too much. She just followed Qin Chu's instructions. She actually had a lot of questions in her heart. After Qin Chu returned to China, it was said that he was now the CEO of GK Empire. But why did he study abroad for a few years? Why did he do a postdoc at Harvard Medical School? Why didn't he become a doctor after graduation? Why did he become a CEO? What a weirdo. Could it be because back then? Huamin, pay attention to the patient's blood pressure and pulse. I'm going to open the patient's skull now. Keep me updated. Yes. The entire operation was extremely tense. Perhaps everyone knew the importance of this operation, so they didn't dare to slack off. The operation took a total of 8 hours. Huamin was exhausted and weak in the end. She didn't remember anything. She only remembered Qin Chu's professional jargon as he instructed her: curved forceps, bone ground glass, hemostatic forceps, three-pronged plowing hook, scalp clamp, meningeal forceps, nerve stripping, nerve retractor, etc. Her head was about to explode. She had been in the obstetrics department for the past 6 months, and most of the surgery she saw were C-sections. Compared to neurosurgery, a cesarean section was as simple as laying eggs. This was a truly technical surgery. Finally, the operation was completed. The moment the surgical light was turned off, Huamin sneaked a glance at Qin Chu and found that his forehead was covered in sweat. The operation was a success. Thank you for your hard work, Dr. Qin. The 2 assistant chief surgeons were very pleased. Qin Chu didn't say much. He only nodded, took off his gloves, and walked out of the operating theater. Little Song and a few other nurses immediately transferred the patient to the ICU for observation. The chief surgeons could finally rest. When Qin Chu walked out, Huamin followed behind him. She walked very slowly. She was actually avoiding him. She didn't want to have any direct contact with Qin Chu. At this moment, Qin Chu's phone rang. He stopped in his tracks and picked up the call. Huamin seized the opportunity and immediately walked more than 10 meters. Then, she stopped in a water room. She picked up a disposable paper cup and poured herself a glass of water. She gulped down a few cups of water in a row. Then, she poured a glass of water and planned to take it home. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, she saw Qin Chu walking in. The 2 of them happened to meet face to face. The moment Qin Chu saw her, his gaze changed slightly. Chapter 29. Huamin felt a bit awkward, so he stood up to leave. "Mian," he called out. Perhaps Huamin was too nervous, but when she turned around, her hand trembled and the cup of boiling water fell to the ground. It was the beginning of summer, and Huamin was wearing a pair of thin shoes. If a cup of boiling water fell on them, they would probably turn into pig trotters. She didn't have time to think as she watched the cup fall. At this time, a pair of big hands suddenly reached over and caught the disposable paper cup steadily and accurately. Due to the momentum of the cup falling, a lot of boiling water splashed out, and Qin Chu's hand and the web between his thumb and forefinger immediately turned red. "Here's a cup." Qin Chu stood up without a change in his expression and handed the cup to her. "How's your hand?" Huamin asked nervously. "It's fine." "What do you mean it's fine?" "It's all red. Come and rinse it with cold water." Huamin grabbed the cup from Qin Chu's hand and threw it into the trash can. Then, she dragged him by the sleeve to the water dispenser, turned on the cold water, and rinsed his scalded left hand. Qin Chu didn't say anything and just let Huamin do it. If he wasn't mistaken, when he was scalded, Huamin's eyes were filled with nervousness. At this thought, Qin Chu smirked proudly. "Does it still hurt?" Huamin looked up and asked. Qin Chu shook his head. Then Huamin realized that she was still holding onto his hand. To avoid awkwardness, she immediately let go. Go back and buy a tube of burn ointment from the pharmacy and apply it, Huamin reminded her. It's fine. His voice was deep and magnetic. If that's the case, I'll leave first. Huamin was actually very afraid of facing Qin Shu alone, because she was always afraid that the inexplicable feeling in her heart would become more and more unbridled. She was even more afraid that Qin Shu would see through her true thoughts. Mian, he said gently again. She stopped in her tracks but didn't turn around. She simply waited quietly for him to continue. Thank you for your hard work today. Dr. Qin, you too. After saying this, Huamin quickened his pace and left quickly, not daring to stay even a little longer. After hearing Huamin's words, Qin Shu was speechless. Dr. Qin? Cough. This form of address was so low. Those who didn't know would think that he was an old man. But the title of doctor? He was indeed worthy of the responsibility. Because of this miraculous surgery, he and Huamin seemed to have improved a little. Qin Shu was very satisfied. He immediately put his hands in his pockets and left with a classic arrogant expression. The unique white coat of a doctor actually had a different flavor on him. Most importantly, it seemed that people with good looks could wear anything. The nurses behind her were already infatuated. Whoa, which department is this doctor from? He's so handsome, and most importantly, he's so young, one of the nurses praised. I think so too. His temperament is amazing, isn't it? Even the way he walks is so arrogant. But I like it so much. Another young nurse did not hide her infatuation at all. No, my heart is beating so fast. Quick, go and help me find out which department this new doctor is from. I must strike first to gain the upper hand. The nurses were all talking at once. They were all extremely excited. However, they didn't know that this person's identity was so special that even the hospital director couldn't afford to hire him. Huamin didn't realize until she walked out that she forgot to ask a question. That was, why was Qin Shu an MD from Harvard? His family had been in business for generations. With his current status as an entrepreneur, didn't he study business school in the United States? Why did she see an outstanding brain surgeon in the operating room just now? Just as she was thinking, someone patted her shoulder. Senior Huamin, the head nurse is looking for you. Huang Yu smiled. Okay, I'll be right there. Chapter 30. Inside the head nurse's office. When Huamin entered the office, he saw the head nurse, Su Yin, talking on the phone. When she saw Huamin enter, she said a few more words before hanging up. She nodded at Huamin and said, "Take a seat first." Yes, head nurse. Su Yin was a famous head nurse in the OB/GYN department. She was known for being a strict and workaholic. Many intern nurses had cried because of her scolding. Some of the weaker ones even resigned directly or used their connections to transfer to another department. Huamian had been working under Su Yin for half a year now. In her opinion, although the head nurse was a little fierce, she had a good working attitude and was very serious about her work. Huamian didn't think there was anything wrong with that. She was much better than those greedy people who like to accept gifts. Huamin, the director's assistant, just called me. He asked me to tell you that the major leader's surgery was very successful. He'll wake up in 12 hours. Really? That's great. Huamin smiled. The director said that when the major leader wakes up, he will reward and commend the staff members who participated in the surgery. Our hospital only sent 3 people this time. The anesthesiologist, you, and another male nurse. The director asked me to ask you what kind of reward you want. The major leader hasn't woken up yet. Isn't it too early to talk about rewards? Huamin was a little embarrassed. The director said that the major leader will definitely wake up. Just tell me what kind of reward you want. It'll be easier for me to communicate with the higher-ups, Su Yin said slowly. Huamin thought for a moment and asked tentatively, Head nurse, can I really make a request? Of course, as long as it's not too much. I actually want a reward. Huamin said word by word. Reward? I thought you would ask to be promoted immediately. The head nurse was a little surprised. After all, intern nurses needed at least 3 years to be promoted. They also needed to be graded and tested. The process was very complicated. Become a full member? Oh, I haven't thought about that. After all, I've only been here for half a year, and I don't dare to dream of becoming a permanent employee. I only think that 1,000 yuan bonus might be more practical for me, Huamin said honestly. She really needed money now. Not only did she overdraft her credit card, but she also owed Lingling 10,000 yuan. Therefore, even if the hospital gave her 1,000 yuan, it could still solve a small problem. At least her brother's living expenses for the next month would be settled. All right, I'll pass on your message. As for whether I can give it to him or not, that will depend on the final decision of the principal. Okay, head nurse. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Huamin stood up and left. Right, Huamin. Is there anything else? Head nurse. Huamian turned around. I heard that the chief surgeon this time is a very good neurosurgeon. Even his assistant is a well-known professor in the country. Is he very young? The head nurse asked a little embarrassedly. Actually, the head nurse didn't mean anything else. She was just curious. She heard that the chief surgeon this time was a specially hired Harvard professor, but she didn't have the chance to meet him. She could only ask Huamin to satisfy her curiosity. After 3 seconds of silence, Huamin bit her lip and replied, "Yes, he's very young." She didn't know why, but when she talked about Qin Shu, she felt a sense of pride in her heart. After Qin Shu's surgery, although the principal repeatedly asked him to stay for dinner, Qin Shu refused. It was really boring to eat with a stern-looking and boring old man whom he didn't know. Moreover, it wasn't the principal who invited him for the surgery this time. If it was the principal who invited him, he might not have agreed. After walking out of the hospital, Qin Shu was just about to call the group's driver to pick him up when he suddenly saw a black Jaguar slowly stop in front of him. The window slowly rolled down. A young man inside took off his sunglasses and looked at him in surprise. Qin Shu. Chapter 31. Long time no see. Qin Shu greeted calmly after seeing the man inside. Damn, it really is you. Why didn't you tell me you were coming back? Get in the car. Let's find a place to catch up. Unable to resist her coaxing, Qin Shu had no choice but to get into the black Jaguar. The owner of the Jaguar was Qin Shu's childhood friend, Gao Ran. As soon as he got into the car, Qin Shu's phone rang. You don't have to pick me up. I have something to do, and we'll be back later. Just leave the documents I need to sign in my office and cancel all my appointments this afternoon. That's all. Then, he quickly hung up. You're back at GK? Gao Ran asked with a smile. Yeah. How long has it been? A little over a week. Gao Ran slapped his forehead. Fuck, if it weren't for my goddamn supervisor forcing me to study in another city, I would have heard about your return from the news. But you're so mean, you didn't even call me. I tried, but it didn't go through. Oh, right, we're not allowed to turn on our phones when we study abroad. Gao Ran was obviously excited. Half an hour later, the two sat down in an elegant tea house. The private room was decorated in an antique style and was very charming. Gao Ran looked at Qin Shu across from him and exclaimed, How long has it been since we last met? 7 or 8 years. 7 years exactly, Qin Shu replied. Time flies. You were just a kid before you left the country, and now you're the president of GK. Huh, aren't you the same? 7 years ago, you were a thug who loved to fight. Now, you're the captain of the criminal police department. What contrast, Qin Shu said as he picked up his teacup. Don't mention it. My dad said that my grandfather was a police officer, and so is he. In my generation, I don't care if I don't get married or have kids, but I have to be a police officer. Otherwise, he won't acknowledge me as his son. A police family is not bad, Qin Shu said indifferently. Bullshit, I don't want to be a police officer at all. The salary isn't much, and there's a lot of trouble. If I can't complete the task, I'll be criticized. Do you think it's easy for me to become the captain of the criminal police? 2 years ago, during an anti-terrorist operation, I was shot twice in the abdomen and almost died. Gao Ran lifted his shirt to show Qin Shu. All right, one is bound to have good fortune after surviving a great disaster. Get lost. Don't make sarcastic remarks. I'd rather we switch positions. You could be the captain of the criminal police, and I'll be the president. Huh. Sure, Qin Shu answered seriously. Come on, I don't have the talent for business. I'll just happily be a little police officer. After saying that, Gao Ran picked up the teacup and took a sip. Look at you, it's one thing to go abroad, but you didn't come back for 7 years. Do you know how much I missed you? I called your grandfather to ask for your address, but he didn't want to, Gao Ran complained. Yeah, that was a promise I made with my dad. When I left, I promised him that I wouldn't come back last year, and that I wouldn't contact anyone in the country. Damn, what kind of bullshit promise is that? Do you have nothing better to do? No, I only did it for one person, Qin Shu said word by word. Gao Ran suddenly remembered what happened 7 years ago, and then asked tentatively, It has something to do with Huamin, right? Qin Shu didn't say anything, but the answer was obvious. I knew it. Qin Shu, why are you still thinking about a woman like her? 7 years ago, she treated you so badly. You should forget about her and find yourself a foreign chick. Who do you think you are? You're the Prince of GK. You can get whatever you want. Why do you have to do this for a woman? You can't blame her for what happened 7 years ago. I didn't protect her well. Then what do you mean now? You didn't come back for her, did you? Gao Ran looked at him with disdain. Qin Shu didn't answer directly. Instead, he looked at his watch and said, I have something to do in a bit. We'll catch up another day. Okay, remember to keep in touch. Gao Ran stood up to walk him out. When Qin Shu returned to the company, he went straight upstairs to the president's office. To his surprise, a woman was sitting on the sofa. When she saw Qin Shu, she immediately stood up and smiled elegantly. President Qin, you're back. Qin Shu frowned slightly. Chapter 32. Jiang Linyue carefully introduced herself when she saw the president's displeased look. President Qin, I'm the director of GK's luxury design department. My name is Jiang Linyue. Why are you here? Qin Shu's voice was cold. Oh, I'm here to show you a sample of this season's new luxury accessories. Our department is releasing a few new designs. Before Jiang Linyue could finish, Qin Shu mercilessly interrupted her. Put down the documents. You can leave now. President Qin, I think it's better to talk to you about the details in person. Jiang Linyue was a bit surprised. She didn't think there was anything wrong with her attitude. She wasn't infatuated like other women, nor was she pretentious. She shouldn't have left a bad impression on the president. You don't need to discuss the details with me. You can talk to the vice president about it. After hearing Qin Shu's words, Jiang Linyue was instantly disappointed. She prepared the speech for so long, but before she could say it, the president stopped her. You can leave now. Qin Shu asked her to leave. Yes, President Qin. Jiang Linyue picked up the documents. Although she didn't want to, she had to leave. Before she left, she didn't forget to look back. Qin Shu took off his jacket and leaned over his desk. Just the scene alone was enough to make anyone's heart flutter. When she first came to work at GK, she only had one goal, and that was to know that the young master GK would eventually become the head of the company. As long as she could see him at the company every day, she would feel happy. After Jiang Linyue left, Qin Shu pressed an internal call. President Qin, what's up? Assistant Yang walked in respectfully. Have someone clean up my office immediately. Also, don't let anyone in. Tell everyone who wants to talk to me to come to the small conference room. Yes, President Qin. Qin Shu didn't like the smell of perfume. This was a secret that only those close to him knew. It wasn't because he was allergic, but because he didn't like the smell of chemical compounds. Jiang Linyue had stayed in the office for so long that the scent of Chanel's true self perfume lingered on her. Qin Shu did not like this smell. Compared to this, he would rather prefer the smell of hospital formalin. Or rather, she only liked that person's unique scent. GK Design Director's office when Jiang Linyue came back. Her face was dark. Director Jiang, have you seen our big boss? Isn't he handsome? Do you guys have too much time on your hands? Jiang Linyue asked in annoyance. Yes, Director Jiang. The assistant secretary closed the door and left dejectedly. Jiang Linyue sat on the chair in her office and sighed slightly. She had studied in France for 3 years and had won many design awards. Many famous foreign companies had sent her invitations. However, She insisted on coming back to China, came to Sea City, and joined GK. No one knew that she only did it because she liked Qin Shu. She had been working at GK for almost 2 years, and the young president had just returned to China, so she couldn't wait any longer. Jiang Linyue was a beautiful and talented woman with good taste in clothes, but she was still rejected by the president's office. Could it be that the president is gay? Jiang Linyue muttered to herself. She remembered that magazines often wrote that good-looking men, especially those who didn't have girlfriends, were mostly gay. There was no need to talk about Chief Qin's looks. There was simply no blind spot. As for his girlfriend, she had also inquired about many people. Everyone said that President Qin didn't have a girlfriend, so she tried to get close to him. However, she was rejected at the first step. At noon, Qin Shu had just finished his work and was about to go for lunch when he heard a notification from his phone. He opened his WeChat and saw that someone in his classmate group had asked, "Did Goddess Hui set a wedding date? Does anyone know?" He registered his WeChat account a few days ago after he came back to China, so he didn't have any friends on WeChat. He was only added to the group by Ms. Yao because of the party last time. He didn't expect to hear news about Huamin in the group. Chapter 33. A few seconds later, someone replied in the WeChat group. "No, it's gone," Zhu Lingling replied. As soon as she said this, a few other classmates immediately asked, "What's going on?" "Yeah, didn't you say that you bought a house? Why aren't you getting married? If they're not suitable for each other, then don't get married. There's no need for so many whys. You guys can save on the gift money. All right, you guys should help me on. Keep an eye out for any good single men and introduce one to her," Zhu Lingling joked. Just then, Wei Dong went online and sent a message. "Are you serious? Stop messing around." Of course, why would I joke about something so important? Zhu Lingling rolled her eyes. "Awesome, my goddess is single. I have a chance," Wei Dong said. It was hard to tell if he was serious or just joking. Just then, the female classmate named Lu Xing replied sourly, "Yeah, my goddess is single. Hurry up if you want to pursue her. Don't fail this time, you rich guy." Qin Shu quietly looked at the chat and didn't say a word among the dozens of people in the group. He wasn't interested in anyone other than Huamin. Speaking of which, he had to thank Ms. Yao for the party last time. If he didn't bring Ms. Yao back from New Zealand, Huamin definitely wouldn't have attended the party. He knew her too well. Just as everyone was chatting, Huamin suddenly went online. "I'm sorry, I can't invite everyone to my wedding. Something did happen at the wedding. Goddess, it's okay. That guy didn't have good taste and luck. Long live being single, haha. Goddess Hua, can you give me a chance?" Wei Dong teased. "Mian, aren't you at work? You have a lot of free time today. Why are you on WeChat?" Zhu Lingling asked. "Yeah, I just helped with a surgery. The head nurse gave me a day off. That old witch is doing well this time. Come out for dinner tonight. I'm free today. Count me in. I'll pay the bill." "You guys can pick the place," Wei Dong interrupted. "No, another day. Lingling, I have to go to Fourth People's Hospital to take care of my mother." "Auntie is hospitalized? What's going on?" Zhu Lingling sent a private message to Huamin. "It's nothing. It's just high blood pressure. It's not a big deal. Don't worry," Huamin replied. She changed her clothes, bought some food, and took a bus to the Fourth People's Hospital. There were still classmates in the WeChat group asking her this and that, but she was too lazy to answer. After all, she didn't usually contact her classmates, so she didn't need to pretend to be too familiar with them. Just then, a message popped up on WeChat. It was a message about a bank transfer. The total was 888 yuan, and it was from Wei Dong. There was another sentence below. "I heard that your aunt was hospitalized. This is a little token of appreciation." Only then did Huamin realize that he had just mentioned his mother's hospitalization in the WeChat group. He immediately rejected the money transfer. "Thank you. I appreciate your kindness, but you really don't have to do this." She hadn't had much contact with Wei Dong in the past few years, so how could she suddenly ask him for money? "Goddess Hua, are you really single?" "Yes, we broke up," Huamin replied honestly. "Then can you give me a chance?" "Don't joke around, old classmate." Huamin only felt a little awkward. "I'm not joking. I'm serious. Huamin, I've liked you for a long time. I've had a crush on you since high school. If you don't believe me, you can ask my desk mate, Big Mouthly. He knows everything. It's just that you were with Chin Shu back then, so I didn't have much of a chance. After graduation, you had a boyfriend, so I didn't bother you. But I heard from Ling Ling that you have a girlfriend. Huamin replied with a question of her own. I don't have any feelings for her. She's only with me for my family's money. When the time comes, I'll just compensate her. Then how do you know that I'm not with you for your money? Huamin asked again. Chapter 34. You won't. Chin Shu's family is so rich, and you treated him like that at the graduation ceremony. Someone like me is at most a nouveau riche. So, you're definitely not the kind of woman who only cares about money. Old classmate, you must be joking. Thank you for the compliment, but I don't think we're suitable for each other. Why not? I can be really, really good to you. Really, Huamin, I swear I'll be good to you for the rest of my life. I can also take care of your mom and brother for the rest of my life. Wei Dong, thank you. After replying, Huamin exited WeChat and didn't want to waste any more time with him. Wei Dong was just talking about the incident with Chin Shu at her graduation ceremony. Her heart was suddenly in a mess again. Just then, Huamin's phone rang. Ling Ling? Mian, let me tell you, don't pay attention to that scumbag Wei Dong. His character is horrible. I heard that he's always changing women. He just told me to help him persuade you. He even said that as long as you agreed, he would immediately go and get the marriage certificate with you. He's really out of his league. Huh. He was just joking. I didn't take it seriously. What joke? He's serious. When we were in school, he always sneaked food into your desk like a henchman. You know that. He wants to marry you, and I believe that. After all, you're his goddess. But men are all like that. They always want what they can't get. As long as you're together, you'll get sick of it within a few years. Then, they'll still cheat on you. I've seen a lot of scumbags like him. I know, Ling Ling. Okay, I'm just reminding you. After hanging up, Huamian arrived at Fourth People's Hospital. Huamin brought the buns and egg drop soup he bought into Yang Meirong's room. Mom, you must be hungry. There was a bit of traffic on the way here. Huamin smiled. Yang Meirong's face was still dark. She didn't say anything and just took the food from Huamin's hands and started eating. I'm leaving the hospital tomorrow. Huamin froze for a second. Then he counted the days and realized that it was about time. Okay, I'll ask the doctor. We'll leave when your blood pressure drops. Where are you getting married? I heard from Jixin that he already bought a house. Yang Meirong asked calmly. Yang Meirong had been with Ning Ziyuan for a long time. Although he hadn't been home much, Yang Meirong treated Ning Ziyuan well. At least, she didn't give him a hard time. She just wasn't very enthusiastic. Not anymore. Huamin bit his lip and replied. Yang Meirong paused in the middle of eating a bun. She looked up with a sharp gaze. What's going on? Ziyuan has someone else he likes. Huamin said evasively, not because he didn't want to be the scapegoat, but because he thought his mother would be excited when she heard Chin Shu's name. So he tried to avoid it as much as possible. At this moment, Yang Meirong sneered and asked, does he have someone he likes? Or is it because the boy you like is back and your heart is alive again? Mom, I don't. Huamin's face was a little pale. He didn't expect his mother to be so direct. Huamin, let me tell you, although Ning Ziyuan is an ordinary person, you can only live a stable life if you marry him. I thought that you had really settled down for the past 7 years, but I didn't expect you to still have such delusions. If you continue to be with that Qin guy, I'm afraid you won't even know how you died. You have to know that his parents wanted you dead, and your Uncle Jing only wanted to save you. If they find out that you're still entangled with that boy, you'll be dead. Mom, I won't. Don't be angry. Huamin said as he tried to help his mother up. Go away, don't touch me. After speaking, Yang Meirong threw the food in her hand onto the floor, making a loud noise. What's wrong? This is... The young nurse rushed over in time. I don't want to see her. Get her out. Yang Meirong pointed at her daughter and yelled. You should leave for a while. The patient is a little emotional. The young nurse advised. Huamin didn't feel good. He was worried about his mother, but he didn't want to make her angry, so he could only leave. At this moment, his phone rang again. It was the head nurse. Head nurse, what's wrong? Huamin, the director has approved your reward. Come to the hospital. Chapter 35. Okay, I'll head back now. After leaving Fourth People's Hospital, Huamian took a bus back to the first hospital. Head nurse's office dash. Huamin, about your request last time, I spoke to the director and he approved it. This is your bonus. Then, the head nurse handed him a leather envelope. Huamin took the envelope and was surprised to find that it was quite heavy. Head nurse, how much is this? 20,000 yuan. That much. Huamin was shocked. The director said that this is a very important event. The leader woke up and is recovering well. He told them to reward all the medical staff who participated. Thank you, head nurse. Thank you, director. No need to thank me. You deserve it. Plus, you took a big risk. Huamin smiled and didn't say anything else. With this 20,000 yuan, he could pay off his credit card and pay off Ling Ling. This was great. It felt so good to be debt-free. Huamin, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? Okay, head nurse. Please ask. Actually, I've heard about you. You were a very outstanding student in high school. You even received invitations and full scholarships from many foreign medical schools. Your college entrance examination score was 697, right? With such a score, you could be admitted to the best medical school in the country, Beijing University. But why did you choose our local medical school? With your qualifications back then, you should have been an outstanding doctor, not an ordinary intern nurse. That was my personal choice. Maybe everyone's choice is different. Huamin smiled bitterly. I've observed you for a long time in the past 6 months. You're very serious and talented. You can understand medical principles at a glance. I think it's a waste for you to continue like this. Every year, our hospital has a quota for students to study abroad. We have one in the OB/GYN department. This year, registration starts in July, and you can study in Canada for 8 months. If you're interested, thank you, head nurse, but I really don't need it. You can give the quota to someone else. I'm just an ordinary nurse. After that, Huamin bowed deeply to the head nurse and turned to leave. The head nurse looked at Huamin's back as he left. She had mixed feelings. She didn't understand why such an outstanding child would kill her own medical dreams. On the other side, at GK headquarters, inside the president's office, a middle-aged man in a black suit was sitting on the sofa, facing Qin Chu. He was the middle-aged man who had brought 8 special police officers to the Qin family's villa to pick them up in the wee hours of the morning. Dr. Qin, the operation this time was very successful. After the critical period passed last night, we have transferred the leader to a hospital in Beijing to recuperate. I would like to thank you on behalf of the leader. Then, according to the leader's instructions, I would like to communicate with you to see if there is anything we can help with. Are you going to give me a reward? Qin Chu asked. That's what I meant. If you need anything, just let us know. We'll do our best. Then what do you think I need right now? Qin Chu asked again. The middle-aged man froze and was speechless. As the president of GK, he really didn't need anything. After a while, the middle-aged man took out some documents and placed them on the table. He coughed lightly and said, with Dr. Qin's status, you really don't need anything. However, we know that you're 27 years old and still don't have a girlfriend. Therefore, we specifically brought out a list of the most beautiful and clean socialites in the 3 northern provinces. You can look through it carefully and tell me which one you like. I'll take care of it. So, your leader's reward for me is to introduce someone to me? Qin Chu glanced at the documents and said coldly. Chapter 36. Well, theoretically, that's also the case. The middle-aged man appeared solemn and a little embarrassed. After all, it was a headache to talk to this young man who was both a doctor and a CEO. Then can you tell me, which eye of yours found out that I don't have a girlfriend? Qin Chu crossed his arms and stared at the middle-aged man as he questioned him. The middle-aged man froze slightly and then immediately took out another document from his folder. After reading it, he looked up and replied, Doctor, we investigated your situation in the past few years, and found that you didn't have excessive intimacy with women. Then why didn't you suspect that I was gay? Chin Chu continued to question him. Because according to our investigation, you didn't have excessive contact with any men either, the middle-aged man answered sincerely. Chin Chu was speechless. It seemed that these people were quite thorough in their investigation. They even investigated the men and women he was in contact with. They were just short of investigating his ancestors. Take this document away. I don't need any socialites, Chin Chu said proudly. He wasn't at the point where he had to go on blind dates, was he? Over the years, there were at least 80 women who liked him, if not 100. There were all kinds of women, but none of them were good enough for him. Why would you refuse? This is a small token of appreciation from our leader. Then I want to ask, does your leader have the right to kidnap a girl to marry me? Chin Chu asked in all seriousness. The middle-aged man's mouth twitched slightly. I don't think so. No matter how powerful his leader was, he couldn't kidnap someone to marry him. That was against the law. After all, their country was a place where human rights were valued. Then forget it. I have someone I like. If you can't kidnap her to marry me, then there's no point in saying anything more. Then can we help you in other ways? No, I don't need any help. Please leave. Chin Chu asked in belief. The middle-aged man sighed slightly in thought. If this young man didn't tell him what he wanted, how could he report back to his leader? Therefore, he made a decision on his own. 3 days later, Sea City's officials suddenly released an announcement saying that an important official from the capital city had come to Sea City 3 days ago to inspect the city's economic situation. He conducted an in-depth interview with the leading company, GK Corporation, and expressed his satisfaction. As soon as this news came out, it was immediately reposted by all the major media outlets. At the end of the day, GK's stock market rose by 25%. When Chin Yuman saw this news at home, he was overjoyed. It seemed like it was a wise decision to hand GK over to his son. Although he didn't know what relationship his son had used to get in touch with his so-called big boss in Jingdu, the group had indeed benefited. Evening by the time Chin Chu got home, it was already 8:30 p.m. Son, have you eaten? Lady Chin asked enthusiastically. I've eaten. Chin Chu finished speaking and was about to go upstairs. Chu, I've read the news today. You've really impressed me. I'm curious. How did you get in touch with that mysterious leader? Chin Yuman put down the newspaper in his hand and asked in a formal tone. I traded my life for it. After throwing down these 4 words, Chin Chu turned around and went upstairs. Indeed, he had traded his life for it. If there had been even the slightest mistake during the surgery that day, he would probably be eating cornbread in prison right now. Many people were jealous and envious of him on the surface, but no one knew how much he had sacrificed under the surface. What kind of attitude is that? Chin Yuman was annoyed. Yuman, your son has been too busy with work recently. You should understand. Anyways, the group is steadily growing. Isn't that what you want to see the most? Lady Chin spoke up for her son. The first hospital, when Huomin was working the night shift, she happened to run into Ning Ziyuan in the hallway. He seemed to have just gotten off work. He was wearing a blue short-sleeved shirt, beige casual pants, and white sneakers. He looked clean and bright. Speaking of which, they hadn't seen each other for a few days. She actually almost forgot about him. Huomin, he called out to her. Huomin looked up. When she saw Ning Ziyuan, her gaze was still calm, as if she was looking at another colleague. Seeing Huomin's reaction, Ning Ziyuan was slightly disappointed. He thought that she would at least be happy to see him. Do you need something from me? Huomin asked quietly. Chapter 37. Oh, it's nothing. I just remembered that I forgot to bring some things. Bring them to me when you're free. Okay, I'll go back and look for them. Huomin nodded. You can just give them to He-Man after you bring them here, Ning Ziyuan added in order to piss off Huomin. However, Huomin wasn't surprised at all. He replied calmly, okay. Then, Huomin brushed past him. Ning Ziyuan suddenly felt bad. It would be a lie to say that he didn't have feelings for Huomin. After all, he had pursued her for so long. They had been together for 3 years, and he treated her very well. Now that they suddenly broke up, how could he not feel bad? He thought that Huomin wouldn't feel good either. After all, He was now with He-Man. However, when he saw Huamin, her eyes didn't seem to be filled with pain at all. Could it be that, after all these years, she had never truly loved him? Did she only love her ex-boyfriend? At that thought, Ning Ziyuan's eyes turned cold. After Huamin got off work, she went straight home to buy some tonics for her mother. After all, she had just been discharged from the hospital. Her mother had never been nice to her, so she left after putting down the things and didn't stay for dinner. Then, she went back to her rented apartment and cleaned it thoroughly. She found a few things that belonged to Ning Ziyuan. She carefully put them away and put them in a storage box. She planned to bring them over tomorrow. In the end, she lay on her bed, exhausted. She used her phone to transfer money to her credit card. Luckily, it hadn't expired. Otherwise, the fees would be frighteningly high. Then, she sent Zhu Lingling a WeChat message. "Are you there?" "Yeah. Give me your car number. Pay me back." "So soon?" "I'm not in a hurry," Zhu Lingling replied. "You're not in a hurry, but I am. It doesn't feel good to owe someone money." "Where did you get so much money? Ning Ziyuan paid you the down payment?" Zhu Lingling asked. "Yes." In order to avoid explaining too much, Huamin just vaguely said that the money was a reward for Qin Shu's assistant in the hospital. "That's not bad at all." All right. Since you were so trustworthy, I will still lend it to you happily next time." Zhu Lingling sent a smiley face and sent it over. Huamin received the bank account number as well. Following the bank account number, Huamin transferred the money. Although she only had 2,000 yuan left for living expenses after taking the bonus from the hospital, she felt a lot more relaxed. Lying on the bed, Huamin played the piano version of Canon. Suddenly, Huamin felt that living a simple life was also a kind of beauty. City Center Criminal Police Unit, Captain Gao, "We've raided a brothel tonight and caught a lot of people," a young policeman said. Gao Ran patted the young policeman on the shoulder. "Well done. Brothers, thank you for your hard work." Captain Gao, one of the customers, was drunk. We asked him for his contact number to bail him out, but he refused to tell us. His phone also has a password. We can't unlock it and can't contact his family. What should we do? I'll go take a look. After speaking, Gao Ran walked towards the detention room. As soon as he entered, he saw a young man with red cheeks and a strong smell of alcohol. Gao Ran frowned. "Where are his belongings? Give it to me." "Here, Captain Gao." The young policeman handed over a branded phone. Gao Ran swiped it and found that it was a fingerprint password. Without saying anything, he immediately walked over, picked up the drunk man's hand, and pressed it. The young policeman next to him couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Our captain is really smart. After Gao Ran unlocked the phone, he saw the picture of a delicate woman on the screen, savor, and frowned slightly. "This woman is Huamin?" Gao Ran muttered to himself uncertainly. Chapter 38. Gao Ran recognized Huamin because she was the woman that his good friend, Qin Shu, once loved deeply. Secondly, Huamin's appearance hadn't changed much over the years. She had only lost her youthfulness from high school. 7 years ago, when Qin Shu and Huamin were together, they would occasionally have dinner together. At the time, Gao Ran also had a girlfriend who was the prettiest girl in class. Qin Shu brought Huamin, and the four of them often went to eat Western food. Now that he thought about it, it seemed like it was many years ago. Gao Ran turned on the drunkard's phone. As expected, he found a contact named Mian in the contacts list. Gao Ran guessed that it must be Huamin. Since he could use Huamin's picture as a screensaver, it meant that this man had a close relationship with Huamin. At this thought, Gao Ran suddenly had an idea. Then he said to the young officer beside him, "Did you check his ID? What's his name?" "Captain Gao. His name is Ning Ziyuan." "Okay." Then Gao Ran walked out of the detention room with his phone and dialed the number. At this time, Huamin was about to fall asleep from listening to music. It was already 11:30 p.m. When her phone rang, she woke up in a daze. When she saw that it was Ning Ziyuan's number, she hesitated for a moment before picking it up. "Ziyuan, what's the matter?" Her voice sounded a little distant. "Hello, is this Miss Huamin?" Gao Ran said in a formal tone. "Yes, I am. May I know who you are?" I'm the captain of the city's criminal police force. Tonight, we caught a prostitute called Ning Ziyuan during our anti-prostitution operation. Is this person your friend? That's because we found your contact information in his phone. Gao Ran purposely emphasized the word whoremonger. Huamin was surprised to hear this. Prostitute? Ning Ziyuan? How could this be? Miss Huamin, are you still listening? Gao Ran asked again. I'm here. Ning Ziyuan is your friend, right? Yes, Huamin replied. Then can you come and bail him out now? After a moment of silence, Huamin slowly replied, All right, I'll be right there. After hanging up the phone, Gao Ran smirked. Then, he took out his phone and dialed a number. Qin Chu was a night owl. Perhaps it was because he had just returned to China not long ago, so he often looked at the company's data in the study room at night, and then made a cup of coffee to study the stock market. Hello, Chu. You have to treat me to a big meal. Now? What time is it? Qin Chu looked at his watch. It's the middle of the night. Is this Gao Ran sick? Come to the police station now. I have a surprise for you. Not interested. Qin Chu immediately rejected. Gao Ran was embarrassed. Ahem. Don't regret it. Anyway, I've already informed you. If you don't come, you won't be able to see the best part. Huamin will be here soon. Who? As expected, Qin Chu heard the two words, Huamin, and immediately perked up. If you want to come, then hurry up. It'll be a pity if you miss it. After speaking, Gao Ran immediately hung up the phone. Qin Chu then got up, changed his clothes, and drove his Audi R8 to the city center. When Qin Chu arrived at the municipal bureau, Huamin was not there yet. Gao Ran stood at the door and said proudly, Just wait. Huamin will be here soon. What's going on? It's so late. Why is she here? The reason Qin Chu was in such a hurry was not because he wanted to see Huamin, but because he was worried. It was so late. Why would a girl like Huamin come to the municipal bureau? Did something happen? Just as Gao Ran was about to answer, he saw a thin girl walk in. Her long hair was loose, and she wore a long beige sweater. It was very pleasing to the eye. Qin Chu noticed it as well, and he immediately looked towards the door. Hello, I just received a call. I'm here to bail out Ning Ziyuan. Huamin's voice was a little hoarse. She did not seem to be in a good state of mind. Chapter 39. Okay, come over here and fill out this form. The young officer led Huamin to the side to fill out the form. Qin Chu remained silent, and no one knew what he was thinking. How is it? Isn't it crazy? I didn't think that one of the customers I arrested would be Huamin's current boyfriend. They already broke up, Qin Chu said calmly. You even know that? You're way too well informed, aren't you? Gao Ran laughed. Qin Chu didn't say anything else, but his gaze never left Huamin's figure. After Huamin paid the 2,000 yuan bail, she let out a sigh. She finally had 2,000 yuan left in her working capital, but it was going to go down the drain again. Luckily, her salary was due in a few days, or else she wouldn't be able to make a living. After she paid the bail, Ning Ziyuan was still unconscious and had fallen asleep. There were still lipstick stains on his clothes. She could understand that Ning Ziyuan and He-Man were together because he was angry or unwilling to give up. However, she really didn't think that Ning Ziyuan would go to the brothel. After all, he usually looked like such a gentleman. You can take him away now. Go home and teach him a lesson. What's the point of fooling around with such a beautiful girlfriend? He really doesn't know how lucky he is, the young officer nagged. Huamin nodded awkwardly, then struggled to drag Ning Ziyuan out. When he saw Huamin carrying the drunk Ning Ziyuan out, Qin Chu immediately lost his cool. Let me do it. After he spoke, Qin Chu didn't wait for Huamin to speak, and he dragged Ning Ziyuan over and carried him himself. Why are you here? Huamin was extremely shocked when he saw Qin Chu. Don't tell me you're also a prostitute caught? Huamin's face gradually turned pale. Are you kidding me? Qin Chu's face darkened as he looked at Huamin. At this time, Gao Ran immediately came over to smooth things over. I was the one who called Chu. The purpose was to let him see what kind of person his ex-girlfriend's current boyfriend is. When Huamin saw Gao Ran and saw his police uniform, he immediately reacted. Then, he laughed mockingly. Then you must be bored to death. Hey, what are you talking about? Gao Ren looked aggrieved. Before he could finish, Huamin turned around and walked out angrily. Qin Chu dragged Ning Ziyuan out as well. These two were so weird. I wonder if what I did was a good thing? Gao Ren muttered to himself as he rubbed his chin. After they walked out, Huamin turned around. Okay, leave him to me. What are you going to do? Take him back to your house. What else can I do? Where else can I take him? Huamin asked back. No, I don't agree, Qin Chu said with a dark expression. Huamin was confused. Qin Chu, what right do you have to disagree? I have nothing to do with you. Plus, I'm the one who bailed out Ning Ziyuan. He's my friend. That's enough. I'll make arrangements for him. After he spoke, Qin Chu didn't care anymore as he dragged Ning Ziyuan into his Audi R8. Hey, where are you taking him? Huamin asked anxiously. To feed the sharks, to fill the sea. After he spoke, Qin Chu drove the Audi R8 away at lightning speed. Chapter 40. Huamin was left standing alone at the entrance of the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Her mind was in a mess. She was supposed to be bailed out, but what was happening now? Huamin was wondering if she should just take the bus to the first hospital since it was too expensive to take a taxi home. The Audi R8 magically returned in less than 5 minutes. Get in. So fast. Where is he? In the hotel up front, Qin Chu replied. Huamin was speechless. Qin Chu's efficiency was really, hurry up and get in. Huamin didn't dawdle. She opened the door and got into the front passenger seat. After a long silence, she slowly asked, Did you arrange what happened today? Qin Chu's hand, that was holding the steering wheel, paused slightly. He turned his head and looked at her. You suspect that I framed him? Huamin was silent. Do you think I would do something so senseless? Qin Chu asked again. Huamin was still silent, but it was true. With Qin Chu's personality, he definitely wouldn't do something that would cause him to lose fans. However, if it was Gao Ran, it would be hard to say. After all, 7 years ago, Huamin already felt that he was a restless guy. You might not, but your good buddy might. Qin Chu pursed his lips. Do you think the captain of the Municipal Public Security Bureau would frame a normal citizen over something so trivial and arrest him for a whoremonger? He's the captain of the criminal police force now. Huamin was a little surprised. She didn't expect Gao Ran to be so powerful. When she thought about it this way, it didn't make sense. No captain of the criminal police force would do something like this. Moreover, there were so many police officers every time he was on duty. If he wronged someone for no reason, people would talk about it. Most importantly, when Huamin was filling out the form, she remembered something the young police officer reminded her of. He said, Beauty, your boyfriend is a habitual offender. It's not his first time doing this. You have to educate him when you go back. When Huamin heard this, she was shocked. She never thought that Ning Ziyuan, who looked so gentle on the surface, was actually a repeat offender. Even if they were just putting on a show, there was no need for them to do this, right? Moreover, weren't all doctors obsessed with cleanliness? How could he bear to sleep with a delinquent girl? The more Huamin thought about it, the more depressed he became. He simply stopped talking and turned his head to look at the night view outside. She had never thought that one day she would be able to sit in Qin Chu's car and drive through the night with him alone, just like 7 years ago. In fact, it took less than 20 minutes for the Audi R8 to reach her house. But she felt like it had been a few hours. In fact, she did not dare to face Qin Chu. Although she hated him, she knew that there was a feeling called hatred born from love. Only when there was love would there be hatred. Otherwise, when they met again, they would be strangers. Why would her heart beat so fast? Mian, he suddenly called her name softly. Huamin turned her head, her eyes a little dazed. Perhaps it was the night view that completely messed up her heart. How have you been these 7 years? Qin Chu had always wanted to ask. How had she been without him by her side for the past 7 years? Chapter 41. Did she have a good life these past 7 years? Yeah, she wanted to ask herself if she had a good life. She hid her talents and lived like an ordinary person. Maybe that was considered good, right? Not bad. Hua Min slowly replied after a moment of silence. They arrived at Hua Min's apartment. As soon as the car stopped, Hua Min immediately opened the door and got out of the car as if she was avoiding a ghost. Thank you for driving me home. Goodbye. Hua Min hurriedly said goodbye and hurried upstairs. She was really afraid that Qin Shu would say more to her. She was really afraid that the memories that had been dormant for 7 years would awaken again. Looking at Hua Min's back, Qin Shu's eyes had a hint of warmth, even though she still rejected him. Seeing her like this and seeing her home was already a very happy thing. Seeing the lights turn on upstairs, Qin Shu took out a pack of cigarettes and leaned against the car to light one up. He had survived 7 years without her, so the difficulties he was facing now were nothing to him. She was his. This was something that he had already decided in his life, regardless of whether she agreed or not. After Hua Min went upstairs, she took a shower and was about to go to bed when she unexpectedly walked over to the window and quietly pulled down the corner of the curtains. Sure enough, the car was still parked there. Qin Shu leaned against the car and didn't move. Seeing that there seemed to be someone standing by the curtains, Qin Shu raised his head in surprise and looked over. Hua Min immediately pulled the curtains shut, and then her heart began to pound wildly. She was as nervous as if her unspeakable secret had been discovered. Why was she like this? It had been a long time, hadn't it? Why was she still so nervous when she saw him and made eye contact with him? Lying in bed, Hua Min tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. She had already become indifferent to Ning Ziyuan. If they didn't end up together, then it meant that their fate had come to an end. She had tried to persuade him to stay. She didn't owe him anything. But if Qin Shu kept appearing in her life, then where should she go from here on out? She thought for a moment, then posted a message on WeChat. Everyone will meet someone in their life who they can't be with. We will always be annoyed by the irresistible love that can even be compared to life. In the end, we will go through a painful separation and think that this is the biggest regret in life. After time passes, when you look back at those ridiculous years, you will realize that you have to thank yourself for the choice you made back then. Because I began to understand that those people who couldn't be with me were actually the wrong people. Hua Min got up and went to the bathroom not long after she posted it on WeChat. When she came back, there were a few comments. There were a few people to be liked to be liked Hua Min. The young nurse, Huang Yu, wrote, "Senior sister, don't be sad. Life is still long." Hua Min mean the reason why she addressed Huang Yu as senior sister and junior sister was because Huang Yu also graduated from the city's hospital's advanced blood care program. Her best friend, Zhu Lingling, wrote below, "Girl, it's rare that you don't have to work the night shift. Go to bed early and don't let your imagination run wild. When you wake up tomorrow, it'll be a new day." Hua Min replied, "Girl, sometimes I really want to find a place where no one knows me and start over." Zhu Lingling replied again, "How can I do that? Don't abandon me. You're my best friend." Hua Min only replied with a smiley face after reading the reply and didn't say anything else. Wei Dong commented below, "Only by leaving the wrong person can you meet the right person. You can't give up the whole forest for a crooked tree." Hua Min replied with a polite, smiley face. The truth was, sometimes she really felt tired and wanted to start over somewhere else. However, that was impossible because she still had her mother and brother to take care of. Before her brother started working, she couldn't just leave them alone. The next day, Hua Min slept in because it was her day off. When she heard the doorbell, she got up and opened the door. When she saw Ning Ziyuan, Hua Min wasn't awake yet. She said groggily, "You're here to get your stuff, right? I've already packed it for you." "Mian, I'm here to see you." Ning Ziyuan looked at Hua Min and said in all seriousness. Chapter 42. "Oh, come in and wait for me. I'm going to brush my teeth and wash up." Hua Min opened the door and let Ning Ziyuan in. After he walked in, he slowly looked around the small house with mixed feelings. He remembered how excited he was when he moved in with Hua Min. Although they slept in separate rooms, they were able to see each other day and night. It was a blessing. If it wasn't for the class reunion, they might have already had their wedding. Ning Ziyuan hated Huo Min's ex-boyfriend. They broke up so many years ago. Why was he still bothering them? If he was so rich, why didn't he just find another girlfriend? Why was he bothering Huo Min? After Huo Min changed, he went into the bathroom to wash up. When he came out, he saw Ning Ziyuan sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper. Why are you looking for me? Huo Min walked out while drying his hair. Yesterday, thank you for bailing me out, Ning Ziyuan suddenly said awkwardly. Huo Min immediately understood what he was talking about. He only replied faintly, "It's nothing. Mian, I'm not usually like that. I was just in a bad mood yesterday. I thought of our past, so I went to drink. After I got drunk, a woman took me away from the bar. I really don't remember what happened after that. You have to believe me. You don't have to explain this to me. Your current girlfriend is Iman," Huo Min reminded. "Mian, you know that I still have feelings for you. After all these years, Ziyuan, what are you trying to say?" Huo Min went straight to the point. "Mian, I was wrong this time. I had to trouble you to pick me up and take me to the hotel last night. I really feel sorry for you. Iman and I were just fooling around. It wasn't real. I still love you in my heart. Let's call it even, okay? I won't pursue the matter between you and your ex-boyfriend anymore. I made a mistake this time, and with Iman's matter, we're even. Can we still be the same as before? Ziyuan, do you think life is a game? Can I start over if I break it?" Huo Mian put down the towel and stared into Ning Ziyuan's eyes as she asked seriously. "I don't think so. I just think that it's not easy for the two of us to be together. Since we have feelings for each other, why torture each other? Ziyuan, do you know who I hate the most?" "What?" Ning Ziyuan was stunned. "It's a liar. I'm not lying, Mian. Yesterday was the first time I did something stupid. I won't do it again. But the police told me that you have a criminal record in the police station. It's not the first time you've committed rape. You're a repeat offender." As soon as Huo Min finished speaking, Ning Ziyuan's face immediately turned pale. After a long while, he stuttered and said, "Don't listen to the nonsense of those stinky policemen. They are all black money. They only want money after they catch people and frame me. Ziyuan, that's not the point. The point is that we can't go back." "Why?" "Do you still want to be with your ex-boyfriend? Just because he's richer than me?" Ning Ziyuan was a little angry. "Don't drag him into this. It has nothing to do with him. I don't believe you. You must still love him and can't forget him, right?" Ning Ziyuan asked aggressively. "Ziyuan, I already explained. You know that I never lie. The truth is what it is. Then there's no chance of us getting back together?" Ning Ziyuan asked bitterly. Huo Min was silent. "Okay, I got it." After speaking, Ning Ziyuan took out a wad of cash from his bag and placed it on the coffee table. "I heard that you paid 2,000 yuan for my bail yesterday and another 1,000 for my hotel room. That's a total of 3,000 yuan. Here, I don't want to owe you anything. We're even now. Huo Min, I'm warning you. Don't regret what you did today. When that rich kid doesn't want you anymore and has had enough of you, don't come begging me to take you in. I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it." Huo Min was speechless upon hearing this. After Ning Ziyuan finished speaking, he turned around and opened the door to leave. "Hey, you still haven't taken your stuff? I don't want it. Throw it away," Ning Ziyuan said angrily as he slammed the door and left. This time, everything between them was completely over, right? Huo Min thought. Just then his phone rang. Huo Min turned around to pick it up. Chapter 43. Ji Xin. When Huo Min picked up the phone, his voice was filled with love. "Sis, are you off today?" "Yes." "Then let's go visit Dad's grave at noon." "Okay." Even if Ji Xin didn't call, Huo Min was going to go anyway. It had been 7 years since Uncle Jing passed away. 7 years ago today, Uncle Jing got into a car accident. "I went with Mom this morning, and she wasn't in a good mood. I'll go with you again at noon." "Don't you have classes today?" "No, I'll go to the library to study in the afternoon." "Okay, wait for me. I'll see you at the entrance of the cemetery." "Okay." After hanging up the phone, Huo Min's heart sank. She still remembered that night 7 years ago when she was on her way back from cram school. A black Buick business van drove straight at her, and she didn't have time to dodge. At that moment, Uncle Jing, who came to pick her up from school, suddenly rushed out and pushed her away. In the end, she could only watch as Uncle Jing died under the wheels of the car, and his blood flowed like a river. She was only slightly injured, but Uncle Jing had lost his life. If it weren't for her, Uncle Jing wouldn't have died originally. She thought it was just a traffic accident. However, when she found out that the driver who caused the accident was the Qin family's driver, she was dumbfounded. The Qin family was so bold that they didn't even hesitate to hire a hitman to kill someone. Did they need their own driver to do the job? These rich families didn't care about ordinary people at all. Her mother and brother were heartbroken. She went to court time and time again to sue the driver. At that time, the Qin family had already sent Qin Shu abroad. She, on the other hand, had to bear the pressure that normal people couldn't bear. In the end, they insisted on not paying compensation. The driver who caused the accident took the blame and went to jail. However, he was only sentenced to 5 years of drunk driving. At that time, she deeply felt the unfairness of the world, the difference between the rich and the poor. She also knew that with her background, she would never be able to fit in with a rich family like the Qin family. It was also at that time that she completely gave up on the idea of being together with Qin Shu. Putting away these heavy memories, Huamin washed his face and changed into a pair of black pants and a black short-sleeved shirt. Then, he put on a pair of black sunglasses and went out. When he passed by a flower shop, he bought a bunch of white chrysanthemums. Because the cemetery was in the suburbs, they had to transfer 3 times. When they arrived at the cemetery, it was almost noon. "Sis," Jing Zixin waved at Huamin from afar. "You've been waiting for a long time, haven't you?" Huamin lovingly patted Jing Zixin's head. "Not too long, only about 10 minutes. Sis, you seem to have lost weight recently. Is it because there are too many night shifts?" In the face of his brother's concern, Huamin only smiled faintly. "No, I've been on a diet recently." The siblings then entered the cemetery together and placed the flowers in front of Uncle Jing's tombstone. There was also a basket of fruits and flowers that their mother had sent over in the morning. "Zixin, all these years, have you ever blamed and resented me like Mom did?" Huamin took off his sunglasses, his expression sorrowful. Jing Zixin looked at his sister beside him and had a big reaction. "Sis, what are you talking about? How could I? I can't blame you for what happened back then. The Qin family are all bad people. If Dad didn't die, you would have died. You guys are the closest to me. But if I didn't ignore the warning and date Qin Shu, that tragedy wouldn't have happened." Huamin bit her lip, her heart filled with guilt. After hearing what Jing Zixin said, Huamin was extremely surprised. She couldn't believe that her 19-year-old brother would say something like that. Chapter 44. Jing Zixin said, "Sis, there's nothing wrong with love. You're not the one at fault. The Qin family is too despicable. Back then, they used despicable means to break you guys up. You must have felt terrible too, right? You're also deeply in love with Qin Shu, aren't you?" "Zixin." Huamin suddenly didn't know what to say. "Sis, don't think that I'm a child who doesn't know anything. Also, I know that you and Brother Ziyuan broke up. Well, I called him that day. I could tell that something was wrong with the two of you. Although he didn't say it explicitly, I knew that something was wrong. Also, before Mom was hospitalized that day, Brother Ziyuan came to our house. When I linked these two things together, I thought that you might not like Brother Ziyuan at all. You still love Brother Ziyuan and can't let go of him, so I won't blame or resent you. Dad is dead and can't be brought back to life. I only hope that you won't leave yourself with any regrets in the future. Love is something that can't be forced. I read in a magazine that love is like drinking water. Brother Ziyuan might be a good person, but he's not the one you love, so I don't want you to find a man you don't love for the rest of your life. If you still like Brother Qin Shu, then be with him. Even if Mom doesn't approve and hates you and scolds you, I won't do that. I'll understand. Every debt has its debtor. You can't blame Brother Qin Shu for what the Qin family did. I still stand by what I said. As long as you're happy, it's fine." When Jing Zixin finished speaking, Huamin's face was already covered in tears. she wasn't someone who cried easily. She didn't shed a single tear when she broke up with Ning Ziyuan. However, her brother's words today deeply shocked her. Her brother was only 19 years old. It was rare for him to stand in her shoes and think for her. There was a popular saying that went, "A lot of people only care about how high you fly. Only those who truly care about you care about whether you're tired or not." Her brother was this kind of little warm guy. He always encouraged Huamin when she was feeling down. All these years, other than helping her brother financially, Huamin felt that she was not a qualified sister. At the very least, she had never cared about her younger brother like this, paying attention to her younger brother's true thoughts. "Sis, don't cry. You're already so old. Hurry up and wipe your tears. It's so ugly." Jing Jixin handed her a pack of tissues. Huamin wiped away his tears and sobbed. "Jixin, I didn't know you knew everything. Thank you for understanding me." "What nonsense are you talking about? We're siblings. You and Mom are the people I love the most in the world." Jing Jixin smiled, revealing his 2 canine teeth. Huamin's eyes glistened with tears. She thought to herself, "Uncle Jing, please bless me and Jixin. Please bless us so that we'll be safe and sound in the future. We can't afford to lose anything." When they walked out of the cemetery, it was already 1 in the afternoon. "Are you going back to the library to study?" "There's still time." "Sis, I'm so hungry. Let's eat something together." Huamin nodded. Then, the two of them took the bus back to the city. They found a small restaurant near Jing Jixin's university and ordered 2 dishes and a bowl of soup. Although it was simple, they ate with relish. Jing Jixin was only in his 2nd semester of university. His university wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad either. He majored in civil engineering and was said to be an engineer in the future. "Sis, when I graduate and find a job, I can support the family with you. Then, you and Mom won't have to work so hard anymore." "Okay." Huamin smiled and nodded. After dinner, Huamin bought some fruits for her brother and walked him all the way to the school gate. "Sis, hurry up and go back. Call me if you need anything." Jing Jixin waved goodbye to Huamin. When Huamin returned to her rented apartment, she spent the entire afternoon cleaning. As a medical worker, she was seriously obsessed with cleanliness. By the time she finished, it was almost 6 in the evening. Exhausted, she curled up on the sofa and watched TV to pass the time. Just then, her phone rang. She looked at the caller ID and saw that it was an unknown number. "Are you Jing Jixin's sister?" A boy on the other side of the phone asked anxiously. "I am." "Sis, I'm Jing Jixin's roommate. Jing Jixin just got into a car accident on campus. He's being sent to the first hospital in the city right now. Hurry up and go." After hearing this, Huamin felt her vision go dark and she almost fainted. Chapter 45. Huamin didn't even remember how she walked out of the house until she arrived at the hospital's emergency room. The doors to the operating room were closed, and many people were waiting outside. She saw her mother lying limp on a chair in the hallway, crying her heart out. "Mom, how's Jixin? My poor Jixin, you have to be safe, or else how am I going to live?" Yang Meiyerong closed her eyes and cried as if she couldn't see Huamin. 2 nurses were about to come over and scold her for being quiet, but when they saw Huamin, they were surprised. "Huamin, are you a family member of the patient as well?" Huamin nodded with a pale face. "Slightly. How's my brother? What's his situation?" "I don't know yet, but he was pretty scary when he was brought in. His heart rate was irregular, and his blood pressure was terrifyingly high. The doctor is trying to save him right now. Just wait." "Okay, I got it." Huamin felt weak all over, as if she was about to collapse. They were still eating lunch together, talking and laughing. How did this happen in the afternoon? If something really happened to Jixin, she couldn't imagine how she and her mother would live on. 7 years ago, Uncle Jing's death had already cast a layer of frost over the family. If something happened to her brother, she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to live on. Just then, she saw the other family members crying. Only then did she remember to ask what was going on. Then, a middle-aged man in his 40s walked over, wearing gold-rimmed glasses. Huamin recognized him. He was Jing Jixin's university teacher. "Mr. Sun, what happened?" "It's like this. Apparently, Jing Jixin got into a car accident on his way back to his dorm from the library. This time, Jing Jixin wasn't the only one who got into an accident. 3 other children were also seriously injured. It was a chain accident, the teacher replied with a heavy tone. Huamin was slightly shocked. How is that possible? Isn't there a speed limit on campus? How could such a serious accident happen if the speed was so slow? I wasn't there at the time. I'll have to wait for the surveillance footage to come out. However, according to the students who witnessed it, a Porsche sports car was speeding and destroyed a lot of public goods in the school. It also injured 4 students and finally hit a big tree. Porsche sports car. Huamin frowned. She couldn't imagine what kind of person would drive a sports car in a crowded university campus. He even destroyed a lot of public property. Where's the perpetrator? Where is it? Huamin was fuming. They've already escaped. The girl in the passenger seat is also said to be seriously injured and is in the hospital for emergency treatment. However, the school has already called the police. The traffic police and the police are already involved in this matter. You don't have to worry. How can I not be worried? I still don't know what's going on with my brother. Huamin's tears fell as he spoke. 3 hours later, the door to the operating theater opened. Huamin and his mother rushed forward to stop the doctor. Dr. Liu, how's my brother? His condition isn't very good. We've already tried our best to resuscitate him, but there's still a blood clot in his brain. Moreover, the location of the clot is very sensitive. We don't have enough time to perform a second surgery. In a moment, the neurosurgery department will come up with a plan and discuss with your family about how to treat him. After hearing this, Huamin and his mother's legs turned to jelly. If the situation wasn't good, it meant that his life wasn't out of danger. She knew the theory behind intracranial hemorrhage. The surgery she did with Qin Chu was similar to this one. It was an extremely difficult surgery. Even the slightest mistake would leave behind sequelae. In the best-case scenario, it would result in a decrease in intelligence and uncoordinated limbs. In the worst-case scenario, it would result in paralysis or a vegetative state. Oh my God, my poor son. What have I done to deserve this? Yang Meiyerong knelt on the ground and wailed. At this moment, Huamin felt like the sky was falling down. Chapter 46. Patient's family, quiet down. We can't make noise here. The medical staff immediately stopped them. Mom, calm down. Shut up. It's all your fault, you jinx. You killed Jixin's father, and now you're here to kill Jixin. I really regret having a jinx like you as my daughter. It's all my fault. Yang Meiyerong cried as she hit Huamin. Huamin was also very sad, but he couldn't say anything. Just then, Yang Meiyerong suddenly grabbed Huamin's collar and yelled, Did the Qin family do it? Huh? Did you seduce their son again? Is that why they're trying to hurt us again? Huh? Tell me. Mom, calm down. This was an accident. The teacher said it was a chain accident, not a premeditated accident, Huamin explained. I don't believe it. It must be you. It must be that family. It must be them. I'm going to kill them. After speaking, Yang Meiyerong was about to run out. Mom. Huamin held onto his mother's hand with a sobbing tone. Finally, his mother's body fell forward and she fell flat on the ground. Mom, wake up. Huamin felt like his brain was about to explode. His brother was still in critical condition, and his mother had fainted. Huamin suffered 2 blows in one day and was on the verge of collapse. After helping his mother settle down, Huamin pulled himself together and walked towards the top floor of the hospital. Outside the director's office, I want to see the director, Huamin said to the male assistant at the door. Do you have an appointment? No. The assistant had met Huamin before, so he was familiar with him. He nodded and said, Wait a moment, I'll go inform him. Soon the assistant walked out and said, You can go in now. Thank you. When Huamin walked in, he saw the director sitting in his chair, writing something down. President Wu. Oh, you're here. Have a seat. The director was no stranger to this intern nurse. Huamin nodded. His eyes were red as he sat down on the chair opposite the dean. You must be looking for me. Speak. The hospital director thought that perhaps the nurse felt that the bonus he had given her last time was not enough, so she came to ask for something again. Unexpectedly, Huamin almost burst into tears the moment he opened his mouth. Director, I beg you, please save my brother. What happened? Tell me slowly, don't rush. President Wu looked at her and stopped what he was doing. He adjusted his glasses and said in a serious tone, Director, my younger brother was involved in a car accident at school today and was sent to our hospital for emergency treatment. The chief surgeon said that his head was severely damaged and he was still in critical condition after this operation. He also suggested a second operation in the near future. However, because the location of the damage in his brain is relatively sensitive, the risk of the second operation is very high. He is only 19 years old today. I only have one younger brother, and I don't want to lose him. Please help me. I see. Don't worry, I'll make a call and ask. Then, President Wu dialed the internal line of the Department of Neurosurgery and talked to the doctor there. A few minutes later, President Wu hung up the phone and said in a serious tone, Huamin, your brother's situation is really complicated. Dr. Liu from the Department of Neurosurgery told me that he is not confident that he can perform the operation well. Even if the operation is successful, the patient may suffer from sequelae. Then what should we do? What if we don't perform this second operation? Will it be better? Huamin was anxious. President Wu shook his head. Listen to me. The current situation is like this. If we don't perform the second operation, his life will be in danger at any time. Because if the blood clot in the brain is not completely removed, it may cause a brain hemorrhage. This is very important. Then what should we do? Huamin was a little dumbfounded. For the first time, she was at a loss. How about this? You go home and think about it and discuss it with your family. However, I have to remind you that even if you perform this second operation, the cost will be quite expensive. It will cost at least 300,000 yuan, and it's best if you do it within a week. Otherwise, the longer you delay it, the higher the risk. As for the hospital fees, don't worry. I've already made arrangements, and you don't have to pay for it yet. We'll settle it together in the future. Thank you, Director. I'll go home and think about it. After she finished speaking, Huamin stood up in a daze. 300,000 yuan for the operation was a sky-high price. Where is she going to find that much money? Wait a minute. The director suddenly shouted. Huamin turned around tiredly. Huamin, the special professor who performed the operation on the leader, Dr. Qin, is an old acquaintance of yours, right? President Wu suddenly thought of this key question. Chapter 47. After a moment of hesitation, Huamin nodded. She knew that she couldn't hide this from the director. Yes, we've known each other for a long time, she said evasively. That's easy. If you're a friend, I suggest that you ask Dr. Qin to operate on your brother. You should know that he's a medical doctor from Harvard and is an authoritative expert in neurosurgery. You should have seen how he operated on the leader last time. If he agrees to be the chief surgeon, with the help of our hospital's chief surgeon, your brother's chances of success will be much higher. What do you think? Okay, I'll think about it. Thank you for the reminder. After speaking, Huamin turned around and left the director's office. She felt extremely conflicted. Should she ask Qin for help? This was worse than killing her. She needed to raise money first. After all, 300,000 yuan wasn't a small amount. Inside the hospital room, when Huamin walked in, his mother was already awake. She was still in a bad mood. Mom, I have something to discuss with you, Huamin said quietly. Yang Meiyerong turned her head away. Her face was pale, and she didn't respond. I just went to the director's office and asked about Jixin's condition. The director also suggested that Jixin undergo a second surgery, but it's very expensive. It'll cost 300,000 yuan. Even if we have to sell our house and our land, we have to save Jixin. Money is nothing, Yang Meiyerong said fiercely as she glared at Huamin. Huamin nodded. That's what I think too. I'll do whatever it takes to save Jixin. Mom, you have to take care of yourself. Leave the rest to me. I'll go raise the money first. We can sell the house. We can rent it. Yang Meiyerong lowered her head and said in a muffled voice. It's too late to sell the house now. The second surgery will happen in a few days. I'll think of something. You rest well. After speaking, Huamin turned around and walked out of the hospital room. She took a deep breath and tried to calm herself down. Then, she took out her phone and opened her contacts. She looked through each and every one of them to see if there was anyone who could help her at this critical moment. At this moment, she thought of someone, Ning Ziyuan. It wasn't because they had to borrow money from Ning Ziyuan. It was just that when they bought the house, Huamin had also taken 60,000 yuan for the surgery. Her salary was not high. She had saved 60,000 yuan while working part-time. It was not easy. Therefore, she wanted to ask Ning Ziyuan if he could return the money to her. Then, she went to Ning Ziyuan's new house. She had only been to this place a few times. Initially, she had planned to move in after she got married. However, after they broke up, there was nothing else. This was a 33-story apartment building. It was located at the edge of the 3rd Ring Road, and the transportation was quite convenient. Ning Ziyuan lived on the 9th floor. Huamin took the elevator directly to the 9th floor, room 902. Just as he was about to knock on the door, he saw that the door was ajar. She slowly opened the door. Before she walked in, she saw a pair of women's high heels at the door. They were purple and very seductive. Then, a flirtatious voice came from the bedroom. Aya, you haven't showered yet. Go, you're so dirty. There's no rush. I'll shower after I'm done. Ning Ziyuan's voice had a hint of playfulness. Huamin thought that she had come at the wrong time. It was better not to say anything. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, she accidentally knocked into a pair of shoes on the shoe rack, making a loud noise. Who is it? Ning Ziyuan immediately walked out of the bedroom to check. When he saw Huamin, he was obviously surprised and then embarrassed. Why are you here? Huamin saw that Ning Ziyuan was only wearing boxers. She immediately turned her head and said, Something happened at home and I need some money. So, I wanted to ask if you could return me the money I paid for the down payment. Chapter 48. Money? No, I use it all to buy a house. If you want it, just wait. I'll pay you back when I have enough money. Okay, I got it. Huamin turned to leave. Huamin, what happened to your family? Jixin got into a car accident. Huamin's voice was a bit hoarse. It's useless for you to come to me after something this big happened. You should go to your rich ex-boyfriend. Ning Ziyuan suddenly said. Huamin didn't say anything. Disappointment was written all over his face as he turned to leave. After saying that, Ning Ziyuan regretted his words. Why did he have to be so sarcastic? Ziyuan, whose voice is that? Why aren't you coming in? A woman's sweet voice came from the bedroom. Ning Ziyuan still had money on his card. He used it to buy things for his wedding banquet. He still had 100,000 yuan left. If he took it out now, would Huamin be touched and want to get back together with him? However, if Huamin took the money and still didn't want to get back together with him, then he would lose more than he gained. After walking out of Ning Ziyuan's apartment, Huamin received a call from Zhu Lingling. Girl, I just got off the plane. I saw your message. What happened? Why did you borrow so much money? Zhu Lingling sounded anxious. Jixin got into a car accident. He's in the hospital. I need 300,000 yuan for the surgery. Huamin's voice was hoarse. What? Jixin got into a car accident? Don't worry. Where are you? I'll come to you right now. I'm at the Rainbow Mall in San Juan. Okay, see you in a bit. Half an hour later, Zhu Lingling arrived in a taxi. She and Huamin found a KFC and sat down. Lingling, I really don't know what to do. What did the police say? Where's the perpetrator? They're still investigating. Apparently, 4 or 5 students were injured this time. My brother wasn't the only one, so it's very troublesome for the police to deal with it. It'll also take some time to get the compensation, but Jixin's surgery can't wait that long. The sooner the better. I understand. How about this? I have 80,000 yuan in my savings. You can take it first. Then, I'll go back and borrow some from my parents, my cousin, and my friends. I'll get about 130,000 yuan for you. If the rest is not enough, we'll think of other ways. Thank you, Lingling. Huamin grabbed Zhu Lingling's hand, his eyes red. Silly, we're best friends. Why are you thanking me? If I don't help you now, when will I? I'll make more money later. I just want Jixin to be safe. Huamin nodded. Mian, Why don't we ask for help from the media? As long as the media announces it, everyone will donate some money and we'll have enough. Huamin hesitated for a moment before replying, I thought about that too, but if we alert the media and the whole city knows about it, Jixin will be under a lot of pressure when he goes back to school after he recovers. I don't want people to look at him with sympathy. Do you understand? After all, he's a boy and has a lot of pride. I don't want to do that unless I have no other choice. You're right, I didn't think about it. It's okay, don't worry. We'll think of something. After parting ways with Zhu Lingling, Huamin went back to his rented apartment and washed his face. Just then, a WeChat notification popped up. Goddess Hua, are you there? It was from her high school classmate, Wei Dong. Yeah, what's up? I heard from Zhu Lingling that your brother got into a car accident and needs money for surgery. Is that right? Yes. I have some. I can lend it to you. Really? Thank you. Huamin was a little excited. Let's meet up and talk about it. Okay. Huamin was very enthusiastic about anything related to Jixin. At 6:30 p.m., Huamin met up with Wei Dong at a nearby Thai restaurant. He drove a black Mercedes-Benz GLK and wore an Armani suit. He had a Louis Vuitton handbag in his hand and a Longines diamond watch on his wrist. He looked like a tycoon. On the other hand, Huamin only wore a white t-shirt and jeans, looking very normal. Have you been waiting for a while? Wei Dong asked with a smile. Chapter 49. Huamin shook her head. Nope, I just got here a few minutes ago. Let's order first. What do you want to eat? Anything. I don't have much of an appetite. The waiter ordered a couple's set meal, followed by a fruit salad and dessert. Yes, sir. After ordering the fruit meal, Wei Dong turned around and looked at Huamin. He seemed to be in a good mood. Huamin, how's your brother doing? Not too good. He's waiting for the second surgery. Don't worry, he'll get better. Thank you. The two of them exchanged some pleasantries before Wei Dong brought up the matter of money. I didn't bring the money today. It's not convenient for me to have too much cash with me. I can go to the company tomorrow and ask the finance department to transfer the money to you. You could just send your car number to my WeChat. Thank you, Wei Dong. I'll pay you back as soon as possible. Interest is fine too. What are you talking about? We're old classmates. What do you mean by interest? You're looking down on me. That's not what I meant. I'm just grateful that you can help me. You're welcome. Actually, there's something else I want to say. You might think I'm despicable, but I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. Huamin, you don't have to pay me back. I only have one condition. Will you be my girlfriend? Huamin's expression changed slightly. She wasn't too surprised. With her intelligence, there was no way she wouldn't know what Wei Dong was thinking. There was no free lunch in this world, and there was no pie that fell from the sky. Everything had a price. But I heard from Lingling that you have a girlfriend. I don't want to get involved in someone else's relationship, Huamin replied faintly. Put me on, give me a chance. I'll definitely treat you well. I'm not playing around. I can get engaged to you immediately and get married within a month. If I marry you, I'll buy you a car and a house so you can live a good life. I'll even take care of your mother and brother for the rest of my life. Wei Dong reached out to hold Hua Min's hand. However, before he could touch her, Hua Min raised her head and put her hand on her hair. It looked like she was tidying her hair, but she was actually trying to diffuse the awkwardness. Wei Dong, you don't like money diggers. You don't like women following you for money. But how can you be sure that I'm not following you for money? I'm not a fairy, and I'm not otherworldly. I also have a desire for money. The Lollidragon on TV is just a story. It doesn't exist. Don't have too many fantasies and expectations of me. There's always a gap between reality and fantasy. Huamin had said this to Wei Dong before, but he didn't seem to take it to heart. No, you're not. If you were doing this for money, you wouldn't have dumped Qin Chu. Compared to GK, my family is nothing. Wei Dong swore as he threw out this excuse. Upon hearing Qin Chu's name, Huamin felt a dull ache in her heart. Qin Chu was a past she couldn't go back to. Huamin, I really like you. Please give me a chance. Wei Dong begged again, his eyes full of sincerity. Chapter 50. About this, let me think about it. Then I'll give you an answer. Okay, I'll wait for you. Wei Dong stared at Huamin in a daze. After leaving the cafeteria, Huamin went straight to the hospital. Her brother showed no signs of waking up and was being monitored in the VIP ward. Her mother's mental state was even worse. Her blood pressure was unstable and would rise from time to time. Huamin sat on the bench outside the VIP ward tiredly with her head lowered. Huamin, head nurse, Huamin said with difficulty when she saw who it was. I've heard about what happened to you. I'm giving you a few days off to take care of your brother. Thank you, head nurse. I know about your family situation. Everyone in the OB/GYN department put together 5,000 yuan of our own accord. Take it. We'll think of something else if it's not enough. No, I can't take it, head nurse. Huamin was a little flustered. Take it. It's a small token of our appreciation. I hope your brother recovers soon. Huamin nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. She begged Ning Zhuan, but it was useless. She begged her classmates, but they made conditions. They said that they were taking advantage of the situation, but they were taking advantage of the situation. Now that her colleagues were doing this for her, she was very touched. In reality, kindness was mutual. Huamin had worked hard in the OB/GYN department for the past 6 months. She had done all sorts of hard work and often worked overtime for her colleagues. She was very popular. Although the head nurse was strict, she was a very nice person. I'll go back to work then. Cheer up, your brother still needs you. After patting Huamin's shoulder, the head nurse turned around and left. Just then, she received a WeChat message. Huamin took out her phone and saw that it was from Zhu Lingling. I heard that you borrowed money from Wei Dong. Yeah, don't borrow money from him. You know how he feels about you. You're like a lamb in a tiger's den. Are you saying that the sheep Wei Dong entered the mouth of this tigress? Stop fooling around. Are you kidding me? I'm serious. He definitely won't lend it to you for free. Zhu Lingling was annoyed. Yes, he does have a condition. He said that he wants to get engaged to me and get married within a month. What do you think? I want to agree. Are you crazy? You want to marry him? That kind of person? Don't you know what kind of person he is? Zhu Lingling was anxious. Lingling, I'm going to get married anyway. It doesn't matter who I marry. I don't like him anyway, so what does it matter? Zhu Lingling remained silent. After a while, Zhu Lingling replied carefully, Mian, have you thought about asking Qin Shu for help? Maybe he can help you. I'd rather marry Wei Dong than beg Qin Shu. Seeing how determined Huamin was, Zhu Lingling didn't say anything else. After Wei Dong went home, he was in a great mood. He knew that Huamin was in desperate need of money, so it was only a matter of time before he agreed. Therefore, he told his class president, Han Su, about this to show off. So, word spread among the classmates, and the news spread like wildfire. Qin Shu was in the middle of a meeting when he suddenly received a friend request on WeChat. It was from his high school classmate, Lu Xiying. Qin Shu originally planned to ignore her, but when Lu Xiying added Qin Shu, she wrote something in the note column that caught Qin Shu's attention. Huamin is going to marry Wei Dong. Qin Shu's face immediately darkened when he saw this. He slammed his phone on the table, shocking all of GK's executives. Chapter 51. President Qin. Are we still going on with the meeting? The vice president asked nervously. Without another word, Qin Shu picked up his phone from the table and left. Assistant Yang quietly waved his hand at the higher-ups, indicating that they could all go back to their own business. The president was in a bad mood, so there was no point in continuing the meeting. After Qin Shu returned to his office, he took off his jacket and tossed it onto the sofa. Assistant Yang was so scared that he didn't dare to make a sound, and the atmosphere in the office became extremely tense. Tell everyone that all subsidiaries of the GK Group are to cancel all collaborations with the Shang Steelworks. Also, tell all our partners that GK will never work with them again if they work with the Shang Steelworks. President Qin, you're talking about the Shang Steelworks, right? Let me confirm. Assistant Yang had been an assistant for a long time, but this was the first time he heard his boss give out such a harsh order. If he remembered correctly, Deshang Steel Works was only a small and medium-sized construction company in the city. Perhaps GK's subsidiary real estate companies had worked with them before? Speaking of which, how did the person in charge of Deshang Steel Works offend his boss? Did he steal a woman or dig up his ancestors' graves? What made his boss so angry? I think you're done as an assistant, Qin Shu said coldly. President Qin, I'll do it right now. Assistant Yang was so scared that he ran out like a puff of smoke, not daring to stay a minute longer. Qin Shu looked at the message Lu Xing sent him on his phone. His lips twitched, and he said, "You're asking for it." Wei Dong was indeed someone who wouldn't die if he didn't seek death. He knew that Huamin was Qin Shu's beloved woman, but he still threw himself at her. If that wasn't asking for it, then what was? Of course, he thought that Qin Shu and Huamin were already in the past. After all, ever since he came back to China, he hadn't heard any rumors about him and Huamin. Other than Zhu Lingling, no one else knew much about Huamin and Qin Shu. Deshang Steel Works Corporation Wei Dong's father, Wei Chongfu, was very anxious. He made many phone calls and dragged many of his friends to help, but none of them could solve the problem. One unexpected disaster. The company's big clients didn't dare to offend GK, so they canceled their contracts with them. GK Real Estate, the only subsidiary they had ever worked with, also announced that they would no longer work with them. This was equivalent to cutting off his source of income. Without the support of these large companies, he could only earn a fraction of his monthly income. It wasn't even enough to pay the employees' salaries. What kind of bullshit company was this? Dad, what's wrong? Wei Dong was having dinner with his friends when he received his father's call and immediately returned to the company. Something big has happened. What is it? Why is it so serious? Wei Dong asked out of the blue. Then, Wei Chongfu told him everything that had happened. In the end, he cursed, "God damn it, I don't know how we offended GK. How dare they blacklist a small company like us? These days, it's the law of the jungle. We can't afford to offend GK." I called GK's headquarters to talk to the higher-ups, but they didn't even give me a chance. What should we do? Deshang worked so hard to achieve what it is today. Are we really going to let it all go down the drain? When Wei Dong heard about GK, he suddenly thought of something. Dad, let me try. I have a classmate at GK. Do you have a way? Wei Chongfu felt a glimmer of hope. I'll try talking to him first. After speaking, Wei Dong stormed out of the company with a furious expression. Then, he sent a WeChat message to his classmate group. Does anyone have Qin Shu's phone number? Send it to me. After a while, no one replied. Helpless, he couldn't wait any longer. He drove all the way to GK's headquarters. I want to see Qin Shu. Do you have an appointment? The receptionist asked politely. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.